Welcome back to the Culture Crusade. It is good to be back. It is good to see our wonderful people in chat. It's good to see you, John. And man, just some weeks more than others makes you lose all faith in humanity. It's blackpilling, man. I tell you, like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh.
It's been a rough week for fantasy, man. It's
Yeah.
between the Golden Axe trailer dropping on Friday, which spurred the article that I released today on X and my Substack about just the state of modern fantasy, to the Rings of Power dropping just pure, undiluted cringe earlier on the timeline. Like modern fantasy, or at the very least, maybe we should rephrase that, Shad. Corpo fantasy.
That's not a bad one, but I think we could do better. Like, I don't know, feminized fantasy. What's a but that doesn't encapsulate it either. I'm trying to think. Like, I mean, woke fantasy is an obvious one, but
yeah, a little overused, I think. But I mean, to me, the feminized and the corpo just kind of are redundant because every corporation is just so feminized and it's full of slop and DI elements. It's ridiculous, you know. But there are some of us, like Shad, who have done. It is two indies in which we must place our faith.
That's
like
right.
Shad and myself.
And
if you may permit me, Shad, I do have good news.
Hell yeah!
Today,
check it out.
The paperback for The Lionheart is now live on Amazon. This is just the proof right here. I haven't gotten the author copies in yet, but if you were waiting for a paperback, a physical edition of this book, and you want some good fantasy that's not self-referential meta commentary or just undiluted cringe, I got you covered. We got you covered.
Yes.
The indies got you covered.
Yes. And so that's like, man, there's going to be a big discussion on just modern fantasy as well as publishing and everything like that. I'll try and save a little bit because, you know, people are still arriving, like to do the casual kind of updates and discussions. But if anyone caught the previous Culture Crusade, towards the end, there was a bit of a reveal, a bit of a discussion because as many of you know, I finished my next book. Well, the first draft is finished. We're going through editing. And I decided, and we talked about this on the last live stream, that let's see where modern publishing is at, okay? Because I'm very confident in the quality of this book. It's the best thing I've ever written, okay? And so I mentioned that I had sent it out to a couple of big player literary agents. These are the big dogs in the field. Just see, all right, are they going to have the balls to try and publish this? And the pitch is kind of simple. From like, if they were just after money, this is a no-brainer. I have a proven track record, a built-in audience. I'm going to self-publish this book anyway, and it's going to make money. Okay, it's going to be a success, and I'm really excited for it. And so a publisher could help take it to even a larger audience. It just depends if they want a piece of the pie or not. And that's right there. It's going to be, here you go. The offering is there. It's at your feet. Let's see what you do. Because a couple of things about my book. You could call it traditional, like in the sense of classic fantasy, okay? Where it is about a traditional hero, a young man embracing the heroic role, saving the damsel in distress, but it's in a new, fresh perspective. My writing style. And it's a whole heck of a lot of fun, and it actually explores the themes of violence a lot. That violence in men isn't a bad thing. It's actually a really important tool that men need to embrace and use in the right way. That's a big thing. That's why the book is called A Tale of Monsters and Men, and it's about the battle with the monster inside and stuff. So again, just kind of, you know, casual topics to begin with, but I'll give you a bit of an update because I mentioned that one of these literary agents got back to me quite quickly and was like, yeah, he's interested. He wanted to read the whole thing. And so the update on it is that he has gotten back to me again after being given the whole manuscript. And okay. Should I ask chat what they think his reaction was? Okay, after having a deeper look at my manuscript and book. John, what do you think was his reaction?
I'm not good at guessing games. I'll be perfectly.
Yeah.
But, I'm
Chad,
guess
what do you
maybe
think?
maybe a little hesitancy at first, and came back and really enjoyed it, or the exact opposite.
Yeah, like you could go in so many extremes, especially like with depending on, I guess, what ideology the specific agent, had. And so and so we've got in chat was like, it was good, but we're going to pass. Needs more K. So his response was he really liked it. Okay, so he really liked many aspects of the book, and he lists like a whole number of specifics. That this is working really, really good.
I know where this is going because I've heard it before.
Okay,
We really like it, but it's not what we're looking for based on your demographics.
Okay, so no, actually, he even felt that the book has huge potential. His hesitancy is that it's too big. That the book is
too big.
Too big.
Huh.
So the book is 270,000 words, and just to give you a kind of a point of reference to that, that's about a Wheel of Time. Wheel of Time falls around the 250 to 300,000 words on average. Okay, so it's clearly been done before. It's not an unreasonable. Well, yeah, it's not an unreasonable size for big, chunky.
It's what we in the fantasy realm like to refer to as a quote unquote chunker.
That's right.
It's a chunky boy.
It's a chunky boy, right? And so the reason why I don't see the logic necessarily, because they think that like it costs more to print a big book like this, and so there's less of a profit margin in it. And my experience is that like it's never been about the barrier for people wanting to read. I don't know. Am I in the odd one out? Like a big book has never been a barrier or a deterrent for me to read it. If it's interesting me, it's got good reviews from people I trust and things like that, I'm like, hell yeah, let's dive into it. And so big chunky books never, in actual fact, in some instances, it's like a feature for me. It's like, that means it's going to be immersive. I get to spend more time in it. It's got a, expansive story, but never a deterrent. But there is this silly mindset that I guess literary agents have, and even the industry have, that large books are hard to market or won't sell as much. And I'm like, well, if that's the case, just watch me, because if they don't want, to take on the book, because, well, he didn't say he didn't want to take it on. His concern was like, can you you see, he asked if I could cut like 100,000 words, and I'm like, no, so, no, I don't think that's going to be possible, mate.
That's a lot. That's like cutting a whole other book. You might as well just make like a side quill to go with it. If you're cutting out that much, like that's, to me, 100,000 words is a lot of words to cut. But I do. I was trying not to laugh. Nathan, damn, son.
Oh, I salute you, sir.
Well, I have seen the sentiment in just trying to keep my finger on the pulse. I've mentioned this before, that I think the sentiment towards the long fantasy series is starting to kind of diminish, in part because of Patrick Rothfuss and George R. R. Martin not finishing their series. That sentiment is definitely there for the big series. For the big chunkers, that I think we are seeing a little bit of a decrease in interest in those, especially as like the literacy rates go down more and more as years go on. So, something that's that big, I'll just use something like I've got a whole shelf full of these. These are really big right here. Mm-hmm. But that's not as intimidating as something like, say, like this. That's why I deliberately kind of, when I saw where I was nearing the end of the story in my book, I was like, this is like 100,000 words less than The Black Crown was. They had a lot less going on, and it felt like the story needed in here. I'm like, this is much more accessible, size-wise. When you're talking, like, it's just a basic, ordinary book size, kind of, feels a little less intimidating when it doesn't feel like a phone book in your hand.
Mhm.
So I'm not surprised to kind of see that sentiment get behind the scenes, kind of get a little bit like, hey, guys, let's move away from the phone book size fantasy. It has been a thing for a long time. And I mean,
I love it. I like
it doesn't bother me.
books. It's like, give me a chunky book that you could dive into. And so my intention in writing my novel, right, was I was never aiming at a set target word count. It was
Right.
The book is going to be as big as it needs to be to service the story properly. Like I was going to explore every needed aspect, give the characters the room they need to build up to the scenes, write the scenes as well as I could, not trying to cut things and things. Now, through editing, usually you do cut things down, and you want to make things more efficient in terms of the prose and dialogue. And so I could, like, when we really nail down, I could see maybe 10 to 20,000 words being cut from the manuscript. But that's not 100,000. It's not going to be a big. And so I mentioned to the agent that, look, all right, it's with my editor at the moment. We're going through developmental edits. The manuscript is going to be improved. Okay, we're going to be looking at things we can cut. But the other side to developmental edits is sometimes like there really needs to be like a scene to flesh something out and give something a bit more context here, or a character didn't really react to a moment that happened. I think we just need a little brief, moment or scene with the character just so we can get their progression and progress. And as a result, through developmental edit, sometimes a book can end up a bit bigger than it went going in. And so I mentioned that to him. The negotiations are still open, and he wants to see what the book will look like after the developmental edits, right? And he's hoping that it's going to be smaller. And I was like, I'm thinking, no, it's not going to be smaller. And then the question is going to be, I'm going to publish anyway, okay? And he knows that it's good. He really likes it, all right? And so it's going to be a matter of, do you want to give it a go? Send it to some publishers, see what they think. But it's just so interesting that they know that the book is good, and that they know that I have an audience, that it is going to sell. And so I have trouble understanding why they would then want to turn it down, unless that's probably going to be an excuse because they get cold feet for many of the other reasons why an agent or a publisher might not find me the most compatible person to work with. I'm outspoken politically, and I have my own group of haters, but a built-in audience that really like me. And so publishers have gotten cold feet for... and I'm an open supporter of AI. That's been interesting. Have you been seeing the stories regarding AI and publishing recently about that? Because that's an interesting topic in and of itself.
Yeah, we saw that one guy who lost his publishing deal, $1 million. What was it, like $2 million publishing deal?
$2.5 million,
and it was just the accusation. They didn't even prove.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I kind of know an indie author who has been using AI to publish, and I mean, like, behind, not just tell it to write a book, slap a cover on it, put it out there. No, behind the scenes, he is really like putting in the effort to tweak it, do the write the story in a different way. And he told me, and I won't forget this, he told me by the end he had tweaked so much and rewritten so much and edited so much that he wondered if the computer actually did anything at all. Mm-hmm. So, but his AI books do sell. So this is one of them cases, I think, where the audience, the readers, they're the ones who determine the value of what is getting put out there. And obviously, some people think that there's a lot of that. Obviously, there is some AI slop out there, but there's human slop out there too. Stuff.
Exactly.
I reread a book that I read about 3-4 years ago, not that long ago. It wasn't a very long book. And I remember it having kind of a feel of, this could use some tweaking. I went back and read it, and I'm like, this is worse than I remember. And so it's not like humans can't put out the slop as well. So I think a lot of people are insecure that they think the AI will write better than them. And if someone's AI book is outselling yours, then maybe that is an indictment of your writing as well. Now, you can read my crap and you can tell, this idiot definitely didn't use AI. But the people who are using AI, they're not going to be stopped. And I don't think going on a Butlerian jihad against it is really going to help it either. That's becoming very obnoxious as well.
Mm-hmm.
And to be quite frankly, after watching what Hollywood puts out these days, there's a part of me that's like, I can't wait till AI puts you out of business, because you have all the power in the world to make something that looks good and is good, and you don't do it. And when the fans complain, you point the middle finger at them, and I can't stand it. I have not regretted going to indies ever about 5-6 years ago.
100%. Now, in regards to the AI stuff, right? I've been an open advocate for AI and never been ashamed of sharing or telling people that I've used AI in whatever thing I present, okay? And so if I used AI in my writing, I would have no fear at all of telling people about it, okay? But my book, right, was 100% written by me. And the reason why, because I enjoy the actual act of writing. That's not something I want to give to a computer. And I wouldn't begrudge a book that if it's good, if it's legitimately good, if it's written by AI, wouldn't really bother me. Though I think I have an inherent, and I've said this about visual art as well. I appreciate the human-made quality stuff. If it's good and human-made, I have a higher appreciation for the good human-made art over the good AI-made art, because I know it took more effort and there's more skill involved, and I have a higher respect for that. And so I just naturally have a higher respect for a good book written by a person versus a good book written by AI. But here's the this is, I guess, a dividing line between me and a lot of people, right? I value quality, even if it's made by a computer, higher than bad quality, even if it's made by a human. And so I value a good AI image more than a bad human-made image, all right? Because I appreciate the final quality. And so I do value it higher, but there are people like, no, all AI is slop, and if it's made by a human, it's somehow magical. And I'm like, no, as you said, there's human-made slop as well. But because I've just been very open about my views of AI, right? It's guaranteed. Pretend I get a publishing deal, right? Guaranteed, all the spurgs and the people that hate me, they will just accuse, with no evidence at all, they will just accuse that I've written this book with AI because of being an AI advocate. And we have seen publishers pull the pin on what they have seen surefire hits. They had massive confidence in this book to offer a $2.5 million advance on it. That and it was a bidding war between 10 publishers. That's how the advance got up so high. And so 10 publishers all read this book, brilliant quality, massive confidence that this book is going to be fire, okay? And so with that level of confidence in the book, the mere accusation that it was written with AI caused the agent, not even the publisher, the agent, to pull the pin on it. And it's like, wow. If they are that skittish over even accusations, I don't think a publisher is going to come within 10 miles of anything I've written just because people are going to accuse me of it, even though I can prove that this book was written by me. I have the unedited manuscript that is riddled with typos and grammatical errors and stuff like that, because it's my first draft, right? And hey, that's one of the strengths of AI. Like, its grammar in its first things that it produces is actually pretty darn good in terms of not having typos and stuff like that. It has big flaws in other areas, okay? But I can prove that my early, and I have previous drafts as well. I've got my scrapped content of drafted. I can easily prove that it was written 100% by me. But I don't think that's going to be enough. And because people are so skittish about it, we will see. We will see. Because, like I said, I can prove it. And so maybe an agent might, get on my side about that and understand my stance on it and they genuinely like the book. But like I said, the primary discussion at the moment is the length. And there was a comment someone's mentioned before that I want to address, because this came up as well. And it's, could the book be split into multiple volumes? And that was an interesting thing, because on one end, I'm like, we could have a discussion. On the other end, I'm like, no. Because, all right, and I'm interested to hear what the chat would think about it, okay? Because this has actually been done before, and it's that, I don't have the books here, but Brandon Sanderson Stormlight Archive books, the international versions were split into a part 1 and part 2. They were still like, the singular book with the, Stormlight Archives, Words of Radiance or something like that, part 1, Words of Radiance, part 2. And you could tell, all right, this is a single book just in 2 volumes. And they did it because the book was so big. When Brandon's books like that get over up to 500,000 plus. All right. And so when you're getting up to that size, they have done it before. And I'm actually kind of open to it. It's like, all right, splitting into a part 1, 2, maybe. I have some reservations. I'd be interested to hear what people say in chat about this, because it's essentially asking people to pay double the price for the single story. But in terms of printing cost and words count, it is literally twice the size of most fantasy books. Most fantasy books are 100,000 words. This is literally like 270,000 words. And so even splitting it down the middle, you'd be getting like 130,000 words, 135,000 words each in each book, which is, so you're paying for a full book in each one. And so you're not really getting kind of cheated. What I wouldn't want to do is split them into 2 separate books where it's like 2 different titles, because the breakpoint it's too much of a cliffhanger. Nothing's been like, the book resolves on a really satisfying conclusion, and splitting it into 2 actual different stories, I'm like, nah, I don't think it would be satisfying. And so
I do think a book that kind of stretches into the 200,000 word length and above length really does have to kind of justify that length a lot, or it has to be like, to me, just it really has to build that stuff up. I know Brandon Sanderson's fans kind of support him on that, because he's got some big chunkers too. I don't know that those are justified or not, so I can't really say, but obviously his fans think they are. But I kind of faced that a little bit myself with Black Crown. It was 193,000 words, and I ended up cutting about 6,000 words to kind of bring that down, just so it had a decent pace. And even then, some people were divided on it should start a little quicker. No, let's get too much of a slow start. And I'm like, which one do you want, guys? But I do think as a reader that if you're really doing that kind of a length, man, it's got to justify that length in some way. But I always say I don't judge a book by I judge a book by its entirety. So I won't really know that what's a good measurement for that until I actually finish the book. But I mean, I gotta say, most big books that I finish, I like finish them. I feel almost accomplished. It felt like I got a good long story. It's like playing
that's what I love.
Playing a really good long JRPG, and you put like 80 to 100 hours into it to get as much out of it as possible. And when it's finally over, you're like, man, that was great. I felt like I went on a real journey. I felt like I got a great experience out of it. That's why I like JRPGs and long fantasy books, because they really do feel like you get your money's worth out of it.
Yeah. And like I said, that accomplishment, and also the satisfaction of like, you were just immersed in this huge world that you got to spend a good amount of time in and having a good conclusion. That's what I love about good long books. And right. Like I said, I'm very confident in the quality of this book. An agent has already, responded with, yeah, it's pretty good. He's interested in it. And now we're in that, again, the negotiation phase. I'm reluctant to split it. And some of the sentiment in chat is already along those lines. I wouldn't want to split it into 2 separate books. If it was split, it would be like a volume 1, volume 2 of the one book. But we will see what happens after I send him the edited version, still with my editor. And so as a result, it's probably going to take another couple of months to get a further update on that, because once I get the developmental edits back, I'll be working through it, and that's at least going to take a month, if not 2. It's a big book, and so it's going to take a while to polish that diamond.
How much did you cut out of Shadow of the Conqueror, out of curiosity?
It's funny, actually. There were some more significant parts that I cut out of Shadow of the Conqueror, because there were some actual redundant things. There was a fantasy race of monsters originally put in that I did all this world building and stuff. And so I had this whole scene of Dalen finding these monsters and killing them. And this was on top of the Shade. The Shade was there, but there was these fantasy monsters that were called
I was about to say,
Grublings.
because, man, you had, I think, enough world building in Shadow of the Conqueror that you had material there that book could have easily been twice the length.
Oh, yeah.
You could have easily done many more books. And because when I think back on it, like there was just so much content. The Shade was very interesting. And I don't want to say it was underutilized, because it definitely made its presence felt, but it was almost like this not trying to be cute here, this shadow that was kind of over everything. Like it was going to be a bit more of a big threat than it wound up being. But at the same time, there was a lot of elements like that where like I was going, my writer brain was like, he could have gone in this direction with that, and he didn't. But it was still cool to be there. Like I said, that was my favorite thing about Shadow of the Conqueror, is I was still thinking about it long after I had finished reading it, and it had so much to give me to think about. And a lot of indie books don't do that. A lot of trad books don't do that.
Well, that's been one of the main responses people have had about the book, that it sticks with them and has really made them think. And that was one of the actual intentionally subverting expectation things that I did in the book, where the big bad monster that causes the apocalypse and stuff like that ends up not being the primary antagonist in the book. They are a peripheral antagonist that come up consistently, but people kind of then expect that, oh, that's going to lead to the apocalypse uprising of these creatures and monsters. And I was like, nope, it's something else, and something far more personal and direct to related to the character. And
would you say you subverted our expectations?
Well, here's the thing about subverting expectations. It can be done right, but you need to do it carefully, because what you're subverting it with needs to be equally as satisfying with the thing that you're taking away. What modern writing does is they're like, I find these tropes problematic, so I'm gonna bait you in thinking that you're gonna have this type of story, and then pull the rug out from under you and serve you up crap as a result. And that's what, like, The Last Jedi did. And
looking at you here, Kevin Smith.
Yep. Where they just subvert it with modern slop crap, which is what we see in a lot of modern fantasy. And we're going to have our larger discussion.
Their idea of subversion was, oh, hey, they thought they'd pulled something clever. Oh, you didn't expect us to kill He-Man, did you? No, and didn't want you to.
That's like saying, you didn't expect us to do something awful with the character and assassinate, the thing you love, did you? It's like, no, we didn't expect that. Shame on us for expecting something good, and then you serve us up that crap. Holy. But no, sometimes if you subvert it with something equally as interesting, it can work. And with Shadow of the Conqueror, it wasn't a huge, like, upending thing. It was like a more subtle, thing, because the Shade is still present in the final, conflict. They're there, but they're a peripheral danger, not the primary one. Well, it gets complicated. You can read the book if you guys want to know the detail about that. But finishing off the current discussion with my new book, there was a super chat asking if it was actually in the Shadow. So I'll just grab that. Does this take place in Dalen's world? If so, when? So no. Shadow of the Conqueror, I'm very, very happy to let it rest for a bit, because that was a standalone. It was mostly written with a standalone, with that kind of door slightly ajar, which leads to a potential sequels. So it has sequel potential, and I do have sequels planned for it, but there is a really satisfying conclusion and arc with Dalen that I'm very happy to just let that rest for a bit, while I was able to devote my time and attention to a new world. Well, when I say new, this world I've been working on, this is like, my what do you call it? My baby, it's the story that I've been workshopping ever since I was a teenager, and the old versions are completely different. This is like a really refined, developed one, but actually existed before Shadow of the Conqueror in concept. And after Shadow of the Conqueror, I really wanted to rewrite it, refine it, and oh man, the way it's turned out now, dude. And by the way, that's how I can prove that this isn't AI written either. I literally have a previous version of the entire book written with the metadata timestamp of the last time it was worked on, before AI tools were even available. I had a version of this story written before Shadow of the Conqueror, and this is the rewritten version of it. And so, yeah, proving that it's not AI is easy, but I don't think that's going to be enough for, I don't know, publishers that just skittish over anything AI. And so it's going to be a test. I'm going to find out. Let's see, if publishing, and for the most part, I think this is true, that they don't understand what people want. They have an agenda of what they want to publish, which is why they have been privileging more diverse authors. And we see them like there are these statements under many literary agents, as bios of what they're looking for. And often it's like, I am looking for diverse voices to represent, new stories and stuff like that. Effectively, like basically saying they want the DEI representation. They want the woke, diverse people. And it has ultimately resulted in when I say near, actual blacklisting of any author that's a straight white male, effectively. They're just not diverse enough. And if you're writing something that has traditional themes, even if it's packaged in a new way like my story is, right? It's still got classic traditional themes of heroism and damsel in distress and the necessity for men, to be violent. And it's wrapped up in the classic chivalry, but in a new fantasy world, and there are things in it that, you're going to be surprised and but it has those elements intentionally in. Stuff that the modern mind will find problematic. There is even, I don't want to give spoilers, but there are fun things I've done with it, John. Really fun things about, women's role on the battlefield in a fantasy context and things like that. It's just, I've done some fun things, man. And things that potentially could upset sensitivity. Like if anyone says we need to get a sensitivity reader on this, I'm like, no, it's not. Sorry guys, this isn't gonna work. Because that's one of the other concerns. Like if a publisher shows interest in this, if they are wanting to gut it to the point where it's unrecognizable, well, sorry, it's not happening. And that's the, I guess, the bullet in the barrel that I have, the trigger that I can pull is because for a lot of authors, traditional publishers like their only option. They feel like it's their only option. Indie, if they knew how to market and do things, indie is always got huge potential. But for a lot of aspirers, they think traditional publishing is the golden goose, the winning thing, and so as a result, they're willing to bow down to the demands on their literature and change it to what the publisher wants, which could end up totally destroying what the book is, especially if they get sensitivity readers onto it and stuff.
And that's the thing about the modern publishing that I don't think gets mentioned enough, and how much it needs to be called out for kind of what it's become. It's become a validation clout structure.
Yes.
What you just said was very important, because it boils down to the validation that a lot of women subconsciously crave, the approval, the validation. They're not so much interested in making a big change in the publishing world. They told themselves one day, I want to be an author, a published author, and it's the published part that they want. I don't know if you remember this or not. A couple years ago, from that Reddit thing, Am I the Asshole? It was a story about a man whose wife was trying to get published, and it was 2 years she was just apoplectic because she could not get it published. She could not get it on a publisher's desk. So he, thinking he was doing a good thing for her, as most good husbands do, went out, self-published her book without telling her, and then surprise, he's got a stack of her books, says, I published your book for you. And she had a conniption. She went out, and her friends were backing her up with this too, saying he ruined her career. She'll never come back from this, as if being a self-published author was a scarlet letter, because they still think, there's a lot of them that still believe that if you are self-published or indie, you will never see the traditional publishing spaces, which is not true at all.
No, it's not.
And at times it can be a path to it. Nowadays it can be a path to it, but they raked him over the coals. And I got in fights with girly readers on Twitter because they believe the same thing. That's when I figured out how much of a clout structure it is. They didn't want to have a readership. They didn't want people to see their story like we do. They wanted the clout, the validation of being able to say, I'm a published author by a traditional publisher. And that was the only way they wanted their work to be seen. They wanted the validation. They wanted the clout. They wanted to be able to go to their their social circles and hold that over their friends' heads and say, I'm published and you're not, basically. That was them climbing a social structure ladder. Clout, validation, social structure. That's what they wanted. And that's kind of what traditional publishing has become. Now, and until, unfortunately, Book Talk seems to be the tail wagging the dog at the moment, because that's where a lot of the money is coming from.
Yeah, well, they push
until that trend of romantasy and girl books kind of dies out a little, and the money dries up, and they start looking for, you know, actual readers and you know, people with money again. We're probably gonna keep going this way for a while, but they're not doing as well as they used to.
Well,
now if they want to make money, they need Shad.
Well, I'm offering them money, and if they want a piece of the pie, take it. But again, if they're skittish, if they don't like traditional, you know, storytelling, if they feel like there's not a male market of readers, which is false, but the perception is they think men aren't reading. It's like, men aren't reading because you aren't giving them what they want. You aren't giving them things worth reading. But if they falsely think the opposite, whereas like men just aren't reading, and this book is, and I literally have pitched it to the agent saying, this is a book targeted to men. All right. It's a classic fantasy made for young male readers and young men. And if you don't want to, you know, try and sell a book to that audience, you know, don't bother. Right. And I think a lot of them won't bother, even though they've looked at the book and they can see that it's really good, just like this agent has seen. Now, to your point previously about the prestige of publishing, right? A lot of people would rather them have a traditionally published book that fails than have a self-published book that was more successful, because the clout, the badge of approval that this, you know, oh, I got the validation and things. When no, the validation comes from your readers, okay, right? Is the book actually enjoyable to your target audience? And the funny thing is, right, I've already had some of the, when I say big name literary agents, this isn't the only agent that has shown interest in my work. I'd had another really big name agent show interest in Shadow of the Conqueror, okay? And you know what none of these agents said? None of them said, your writing isn't up to quality or snuff or anything. Like, none of them even blinked at the quality of the quality of the prose was perfectly up to professional standard, and they wanted to actually do something with my work. Okay, then we just couldn't come to an agreement because, as I was kind of alluding to before, is because for so many authors, they think that's their only path to success when it's not, and they want that validation, right? They're willing to bow down and give the publisher so much control over their work because they feel like they can't walk away. Me, I'm like, I'm ready to walk away at any moment because I can just self-publish it, and I have an audience that are looking forward to it, and I have an ability to market the book, and I'm very confident in the quality of the book, and so the book is going to do well self-publishing, and I know how to self-publish successfully, and so that's like, if you guys don't want it, no skin off my back. Like, I got that metaphor wrong, but it doesn't bother me at all, and I don't need you guys. The actual fact is, you need me, and if you do not see value in my book and going to see the quality of what it is, and if you're going to try to control it, I'll just walk. I don't need publication, but I'm interested to see if there is a glimmer of hope in saving the traditional publishing industry. Would they be willing to take the risk or bet on male readers that there's still an audience on it for a more traditionally styled book? And like I said, they would make money off it no matter what, but would they be willing to do it, right? For all the reasons that we mentioned before, we will see. We will see. I will give an update on the next kind of round of discussion on it with this agent after the developmental edits. I don't think the book is going to be smaller. So I think he's going to have a discussion on cutting it in two, but I'm reluctant to do that. The part 1, part 2, I'm like, maybe. But then we'll see if he wants to send it to some publishers and see what they think. We'll find out. I'm also interested in hearing back from some other agents I've queried as well. So
I think duologies are valid, and they don't get utilized enough. I don't see why. Not everybody wants a 3-book commitment. I think a 2-book commitment is not that bad.
Maybe. Well, like I said, I'm kind of on the fence on part 1, part 2, because people then, like, it's released at the same time. They know, look, this is, if you want the full story, you need to get part 1 and part 2. It's not the same title. It's just in parts. They've done that before. Like I said, the international releases of Brandon Sanderson's recent Stormlight books are done that way. But you really understand why, because the books are mammoth. Like they're 500,000 words big, right? And so halving it is still a 250,000 word book each. That's huge. And so I think people can just instinctively understand, yeah, there's a bit of a point. A 270,000 word book, that one I'm not so sure on, because they've published books as big in the past. And so I'm not sure if people will be as, ready to go for that. But we will find out. That's kind of the update on my publishing journey. But if not, it's going to be coming out, baby. And oh, dude, like I'm lining up such great artists for the cover art. Guys, the cover art's going to be lit. I'll be producing the audiobook. I've already got merch ready to go.
Hey,
dude,
Shad.
You see this? That is like,
oh, nice.
That's the sword from the book. That's like,
hold on.
Yeah.
I got something to show you. Have you ever seen that YouTuber that put the entire Wheel of Time series in one volume in one book?
No.
What that looks like?
Oh,
let me see if this will actually come up on the screen. I'll put it down there.
Oh,
there
okay, yes.
That's the thumbnail of her video. 12,000 pages. Oh my God.
Oh, good on it. That's great.
You might need several bookmarks. I'd like to see Crimson Rogue go through this, see what his notes look like. The man will release the first 2,000-hour YouTube video.
My gosh, that's great. I love it. Alrighty. Time to pivot topics. That was kind of just the primer, getting us started. I'll give people updates on it. Man, so we're gonna have our discussion on fantasy. I wonder, like, you almost can't avoid just mentioning some of the awful stuff that has been going around in regards to that woman that murdered her children. You've been sick, like, you can't avoid it. It's been everywhere. Like, the stuff makes me sick, right? Like, I was not prepared for how bad it would get. And this is the blackpilling stuff. Like the fact that there are so many women defending this psychotic murderer is just like, makes me weep for humanity. Where are we in a society? And it all goes down to that suicidal empathy thing, and it's getting really, really bad. And so even when the story broke, and like stories of children being victimized and killed and murdered, like that affects me emotionally. And so I was like, I can't, I'm not diving into that. I got to move past it. And so I just saw like the headlines and I'm like, that is one of the most horrific things ever. I couldn't imagine. So I'm just like, no, moving on. And I didn't know if it was like a one of those just, oh, woman, did bad thing, a murder happened here kind of stories and move on. And then it came up again and again. And then like there were I saw these clips of these women with in pink shirts celebrating something. And at first I didn't know the connection. I'm just like, oh, is this just more feminists being insane, whatever. And then, I later saw through other things, these were women coming out in support of her. I was just like, what? And unfortunately, the story has been impossible to avoid. And the other unfortunate thing is it's such an indictment and a terrible kind of barometer for where we are at in society that I think it's worth even discussing here, even though it's that disturbing. And I hate everything about this. Like, it is one of the most disgusting things. So I'm sorry for even bringing it up, because this is like one of the darkest things ever. But the fact that people are so desperate to support her is a problem, and it speaks to the contagion that is in society that needs to be exposed. And so this is insane. All right. So mother murders her 3 children, strangles them to death one after another. And dude, like, I don't even want to go into the details about this, because it's one of the worst things you can imagine, man. The dad comes home. I can only imagine what the dad went through coming home. It's horrifying. It is horrifying, right? I need to move on from the details, because the details are
dude,
too upsetting.
I don't want to hear them either, because
yeah,
I have read over it, and I'm very much like you. And terrible things happening to children is something that just hurts me.
Yeah.
You know, as a dad, as
a dad,
it's not something I want to see. Even something that's unintentional is, I was at a state fair over here when I was about 12, and we were leaving, and we heard something. It sounded like a loud thunk. I didn't know what, and it was dark, so it was kind of hard to see, but I remember looking over and seeing this plastic bucket skidding like several hundred feet down the road. And I was like, what in the world is that? Come to find out later, it was a poor kid that got hit by a car. And man, I was just up at night. I was like 12 years old. It was hurting. To this day, it's one reason why I never became an EMT or a firefighter, because if I came across that kind of some situation like that, I wouldn't be able to handle it. I really couldn't. When it's violence that's intentional, I don't think people really understand the level of black rage that goes through the heart of a good man, a good dad, and a husband to hear this kind of thing, the kind of unfathomable, unthinkable thing. But what pisses me off even more is to sit there and see that woman solidarity horse shit getting signal boosted on TikTok. Because, oh no, listen, I can speak about this, okay? Because my wife, after she was born with our second kid, she had a blood clot that got caught in her lung. Could have killed her, thankfully, thank God it did not. But it exacerbated her postpartum issues. She actually did have postpartum psychosis. And she did act a little differently. But never, not once did she ever think of inflicting harm on any of our kids and anything. She didn't even know she was acting out of sorts until years later when I told her. And she was under such stress and anxiety that the year our daughter was born, as 2013 to 2014, I don't know what biological response it is, but the amount of extreme stress and anxiety she was going through that year, she does not remember any of it. There's a whole year of her life that is completely gone from her memories, that she does not remember any of it because of how strong that was. So I can speak on this. Never once did that woman consider anything but love and affection towards the kids. And when I told her about this story, you've never seen a woman who hates another woman like my wife. I'm pretty sure she's trying to figure out ways she can get to become this woman's executioner, state-sanctioned one, if she gets the death penalty. Mm-hmm. My wife would move heaven and earth to be the one to do it.
Yeah.
So this is sickening to me beyond words in ways I can't express. Without getting banned on social media.
Right. And people are already aware of some of the stuff, like, because now the discussion is shifting to mental health. This is one of the copes, not the only cope. Some of the other copes are so pathetic, it's disgusting. But as chat says, so John was talking about his wife, but Lindsay, right? She doesn't have depressive psychosis. She only claimed to have it after the murder. There's different narratives I'm hearing that she was in a psychiatric ward, but she lied to get out of it and other things like that. But here's the thing. Okay. You should have, you can compare things. There are lots of people with postpartum psychosis and postpartum depression, right? My wife has had postpartum depression. I've had direct personal experience. We have 5 kids together, and after one of the children, she suffered from postpartum depression. Okay. And you can look at many cases where the mental health that women deal with, like difficulty with sometimes having young children, okay, often the result is them either freaking out and just pushing the kids away and leaving and stuff like that. It takes a leap of malicious evil to go from the common kind of reactions and results of such depression, even psychosis, to premeditated murder. Okay? There is a chasm of difference here. And part of the chasm of difference is that evil, intentional. This psycho woman is a monster. Okay? To be capable of this and the way that she did it, like, do not give me this, mental health excuse. All right. The mental health, thing, right, just kind of exposes the level that she went to when you compare it to other people who suffer from similar conditions. All right. And it's not an excuse, or does it invalidate what she did? She's still murdered. All right. A crime is being committed, and she's an adult. She has agency, the capacity to know right from wrong. And, voices are whispering in your head to kill someone. Don't tell me that a rational person, right, suddenly loses the ability to figure out that's wrong, I shouldn't do it. And the whole point of justice and punishment is to punish the monsters that decide to put aside the knowledge that what is right and wrong, that murdering babies is probably bad, right? That mental health doesn't excuse.
The worst part about the women that are supporting it is now the level of insane conspiracy cope that they're trying to spin. Oh, the husband, maybe the husband actually did it. Okay, what are you watching, Candace Owens? Maybe the husband actually did it. No, actually, every level of law enforcement and person said that she did it. She said she did it. The husband said she did it. The prosecutor said she did it. The defense admitted that she did it, that she was the one to actually do it. She's just trying to use this as, I don't know, get a lesser sentence, not get the death penalty, which she should.
Oh, no, death penalty, 100%.
But
she deserves the death penalty. And even if I don't believe it, she lost all, capacity to control her actions. That's a lie, in my opinion. Even with hearing voices, you still can control your actions. Okay. Contained to protect society. But the action, the crime stands. That needs to be met with justice. Okay. There is a debt in the fabric of the universe, in fundamental, eternal law of right and wrong and justice that needs to be answered. That crime needs to be addressed, and death penalty, 100%. But the cope that people are doing, no joke. And this is I need to share just some of the things that, crazies are saying, right? Even with all the evidence, the admission of guilt from her and from everyone else, she said that she did it, right? This is what people are saying. And it's insane. We are living in an insane world. And this is so blackpilling into the state of where we're at. Just look at some of this.
Supporting Lindsay Clancy, blaming the husband.
All right, he did it. Patrick did it.
Lindsay Clancy is obviously not guilty.
Candace Owens, you piece of crap. I had big issues with her before, but hearing this come from her, friggin' hell.
Shad,
friggin' hell.
This is the OJ trial for women. That's what this is.
What a piece of crap.
He did it. He did it.
Patrick's the one who did it.
And look at them. They're just they're so deluded and so convinced that he must do it. Why? Let's put our, unqualified psychology hats on and psychoanalyze this, because there are certain trends that I can't help but, connect, right? And one of them, like, why does this fall into the trend, the stereotype? It's a stereotype, hashtag not all women. But when you see crap like this, you can't help but wonder, about the women not able to take accountability. It's like, Hey, Lit Dev, how are you, man?
Hello, sir.
We're talking
you
about
say is women can't take accountability.
Yeah, right. We're talking about the woman murderer stuff. These are the crazy saying it was the husband that did it, even when the woman has admitted it, and everyone is like, they all know, like, it seems like there's no doubt as to who did it, but these women are so brain warped that they cannot admit that a woman is capable of doing such an extreme evil. It must be the man, because only men are capable of being this evil. That seems to be the logic.
She did it though. Is this?
She did. I know she did. She admitted it.
And she's like, I did it, and then all the feminists like, no, you didn't. Shut up.
Yeah, bro, right? Like, what world are we living in? But that seems to be their broken brain logic, that women just are incapable of doing such evil. Therefore, it must be the man, because only the man is that evil. That's their logic. It's like they're not doubting it at all. She didn't do it. It was the husband. And the reasons why they say the husband did it, he looks mean. The husband looks mean. Therefore,
enough, yeah.
Unironically, no, it gets worse. It gets worse. His astrology chart. They say, because, like, I'm not kidding, because of, like, his whatever astrology thing he is, that means he's the murderer. I am not kidding. That's the level of cope they're going to, because women can't do that. Like, women are incapable of being evil, it seems like.
It'd be kind of like that. You see, remember those picture where, like, they draw the line to see which one is which figure's dominant, because they're like, oh, he's leaning into her. No, wait, it's like if I took a picture like that and said, oh, well, he's leaning into her, so he must have been the murderer.
Astrology is something women use to excuse their shitty personalities. Excuse me, sorry.
Yeah. But keep in mind that the
Chad is onto it. Like, of course he looks mean and angry. Is he supposed to look happy? Like, his children just got murdered, you psychos.
He's not going to be joyful. But keep in mind that the feminists have also argued in the past that women shouldn't even go to jail for anything.
Yeah, right? Like, it is a brain-breaking, cancerous ideology, that turns women into this level of insanity. It really is. I can't, and like, this is horrifying. Like I said, this story is just rough. It's blackpilling. It's making me lose my faith in humanity. And I know this is a minority of crazy people, but social media is boosting them to be like, everywhere. And they're desperately pushing this narrative that it wasn't her fault. It was mental health. How dare you blame her? You're a monster for blaming her for murdering your children because she was suffering from mental health.
So what we've gotten, Carmelo Anthony killed an innocent white kid and received hundreds of thousands of dollars. This woman slaughtered her own children, and the feminists like, yeah, you go, girl, $800,000. It's pretty insane.
$1 million.
$1 million.
It's up to $1 million now. And it's a GoFundMe for her family, her parents.
How come we have the wrong opinion and you can get debanked, but a woman could slaughter her kids and get $800 million or $1 million now?
Right. Now, it isn't technically for her. It's for her parents and peripheral family that are supporting her, by the way. So still friggin' disgusting. But people are supporting that GoFundMe to support her, this monster. And this is what they're saying. Let's listen to some more.
Not Lindsay. Patrick did it.
Lindsay Clancy's birth chart. Just following all their birth charts.
Right. Like,
and birthdays and zodiac signs.
I've already gone over the forensic astrology chart.
Forensic astrology chart. I laugh because it's so depressing. It's just like, where are we at? Where are we at? No joke. They're following the astrology chart and say, because of this bull crap, he did it.
That show that the perpetrator is a male.
Women.
The astrology chart shows the perpetrator is a male.
I wonder if there's any bias in that.
Oh my gosh.
Definitely not
Typically-
that you want to be a male. It's like
Right.
the chart says.
What astrology
The
sign
perpetrator-
excuses you being addicted to SSRI, to antidepressives?
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just, and there should be greater accountability for everything involved about this, by the way. The people that gave her the medication, the people that, were involved with her mental health and stuff like that. Like, there should have been enough red flags to know that she wasn't safe around children. People should be put on trial. And this is not to excuse her. She needs to receive the full penalty for the monstrous premeditated act that she did. Okay? This is a level of evil that goes beyond similar types of mental health. And to me, that's like, that comes from her. All right? To take it to that level, that is from her, not just the mental health. Right? Yeah.
It's crazy that in both of these cases, Carmelo Anthony and her, they're both like, "Yeah, I did it," and then everyone else gathers around them and says, "No, you didn't."
Right? And no joke, if the roles were reversed, if the husband was caught out and did it, and the wife came home and found this, and he was suffering from all the same mental health, like reverse the genders but keep everything else the same, no woman would be defending him at all. They'd be like, he's a monster, death penalty, mental health, screw mental health, he did it, death penalty. They will.
Yeah, at that point, I'm pretty sure even GoFundMe, like, we're not going to go ahead and send money to this guy.
Yep, 100%. But because a woman did it, it was the mental health, the suicidal empathy crap. And this is what it's actually coming down to. Like, the defense for this woman is coming from this ideological, unbalanced suicidal empathy. Man, it's insane. But listen, there's more.
There was a male.
Women typically don't strangle.
I'm telling you.
I would say typically, I would say that's true, but that doesn't mean they are incapable or can't do it. Case in point. But they're saying again, it's just like, it's beyond the capacity of a woman, therefore the husband did it. It's like,
Well, they typically don't kill their own kids either. Typically.
Yeah, exactly. Like, people don't typically murder. On average, most people aren't psychopathic murderers, but there's psychopathic murders in the world. Are we going to blame aliens? It's because people just don't murder people. It's so uncommon for the most of society. So we just need to now invent some bullcrap that it was an animal or an alien or something.
All right now, when the South Node goes into Cancer, he's a Gemini man.
They poison.
He's a Gemini man. Ugh.
Gemini Man is actually a great Mega Man boss, but no, this is not it, girl.
Or drown them.
I cannot wait for this man to be humbled and for karma to do its thing. Donald Trump.
Orange Man bad.
Out of
Of course,
nowhere.
it's Trump's fault. Why
No,
wouldn't
you know
it
what
be?
this? So she's saying like, who else is a Gemini? Donald Trump. That's proof that Gemini men are monsters. That's what she's
Somehow it always comes down to Trump, no matter what it is.
saying. Oh my gosh.
Because of course,
I so there's some highlights for everyone. Holy.
Chad, this is the 9/11 for the women who love to say, if women ruled the world, there would be peace and no wars.
And
really?
That was from
There'd
a
be no
video
kids.
from Spencer Pratt that I found on Twitter. So credit to him for making that compilation, by the way. But no, John, what exactly? Like the idea that there is a more moral, ethical gender is nonsense. Women are capable of being just as evil as men. Men are capable of just being just as evil as women. They express evil intention when they are evil differently to one another. That's stereotypically, but not universally, right? But there are strengths and weaknesses between each gender. And these women that are defending the monster that murdered her children, right? I like, ship them off. Let them live in their own country and see what the utopia that would come about, right? Good luck with that. But
I think there was a show about that, and we remember how it ended, don't we?
Yeah. I would actually go through that clip sometime because it's instructive. All right. has this ever happened in reverse? Has there ever been a group of psycho men defending a murderous man? Like, not to this level. If there are, I've never seen the the level.
No, there was
of,
the OJ trial, but
well, I mean,
was
we have seen
more
the
an issue
Carmelo
of racial
Anthony thing is
solidarity
about race specifically,
Yeah.
where there was so much defense for him just because he was, you know.
I mean, nobody
same-
defended Chris Benoit, even though I could sit here and say I've dealt with in the medical field people who had his exact kind of condition and can confirm. Like, I think, you know, when it came to Chris Benoit, they said something along the lines of, "Oh, he because of the constant head injuries and, you know, his substance use and everything, that he basically had the brain of a 75-year-old Alzheimer's patient." I never liked that because it kind of gives the notion that Chris Benoit was a doddering old grandpa, where's my keys kind of type, when acute encephalopathy, which is what he had at the time. I've taken care of people with that. And we're talking about, this is a condition where people don't know fantasy from reality. I once saw a man who had his leg amputated try to walk on that leg. And he kept falling on the floor, throwing himself out of his bed because he could not come. You could point to the stump right there. You don't have your leg anymore. Yes, I do. Looking right at it. Not able to comprehend because of that kind of a thing. So this is not to excuse what he did, but it's just to kind of give you an idea of when someone doesn't know fantasy from reality, which I will concede is possible, that postpartum psychosis, and my God, the medicines that one was on could have definitely put her in a state of mind that where she didn't know fantasy from reality.
Yeah, but I still think that there is a level of monstrous evil that needs to be in the person to be pushed that level, even with the psychosis stuff, right? She is culpable and responsible for enough of her actions to absolutely receive the full penalty of what she did, 100%. Now, chat brought up the other depressing thing where there was a time when a large group of people defended a murderer, but it was mostly women again. It's like, what is going on? What's going on?
You can be anything to a woman except boring.
Oh my gosh. So there has been some things that, like the whole fallout of all of this has been depressing and awful, that it's just like, there are people in this world that are just actually broken to the core, that I don't know if there's any coming back from that. I don't know if there's any saving these people that are defending such blatant evil like this, right? That does not bode well for the future in terms of trying to have a society where we all get along, because I don't see how we could get along with people like this. The divergence in just morality, just basic understanding of reality itself is so far that it's incompatible. It's like I said, this stuff is blackpilling me, man. It's like, what can be done with this level of psychotic evil where they celebrate the assassination of Charlie Kirk, the murdering of like 3 children? It's just like, and when I say celebrate, they're defending the woman that did it. It's unbelievable. But this guy dodged a bullet. He said, man allegedly called off his wedding because his fiance supported Lindsay Clancy. Yes.
I was also looking at this where I think a divorce lawyer had come out and said a ton of men are using their wives' support of her as like as leverage to get better stuff from the divorce.
I mean, if you want one of the biggest red flags in the world to avoid or run away from a psycho woman, yes.
I've seen a couple of these on Twitter over the weekend, guys breaking up with their girls if they express this kind of support. Like, and that one was one that disturbed me too on TikTok, was the women holding their children going, same, Lindsay, same. Get away from them. That ought to be ground.
Get the children away
from you.
Holy crap. Holy crap.
They should like go into court saying, it's after the kid is born, and if the parents get divorced, probably send the kids with the father.
Yeah.
They're probably not going to, first of all, but they're not going to chop the kid's dick off. And second of all, probably not going to kill the kid. Very less likely. I think we have a whole crop of healthier people if we send off the kids with the dad during divorce instead of the mom.
Like, there seems to be some type of mental contagion going on, because like, look, guys, we've seen the warning signs before. Like this pose, The mindset of white childless liberals will be studied in depth for years to come. And this is one of the just like,
Ready? Hey, they are ready. Hey.
Are they going to do the haka?
It was Psycho Eyes.
Psycho Eyes.
Okay. Hey. All right.
All right, if they try to learn the haka, that is meant to be like thing. But there are, you've seen the compilations of women just screaming at the moon, right? Where they just go outside and scream, and
There's some
that
weird
could remind me of
psychotic
them.
feminist stuff that they do. There's all kinds
Right.
of little shows where they
Yep.
scream really loud or something like that, or just they think it's profound or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, you see this bleeding over into some like media every now and then on social media, but also in Hollywood entertainment as well. They really seem to have this notion that we should care about their feminine rage, right?
right.
We saw that with The Bride, and that was a big thing with Maggie Gyllenhaal. Is like, I've got to have an outlet for my feminine rage. And
Like, what are
you remember that
raging
scene
against?
in She-Hulk where she's like, I control my anger more than you. He tried to eat a bullet, and you're sitting here saying you're worse because you occasionally get catcalled. Bitch, please.
What are you raging about? What's exactly is causing feminine rage that's justified? Exactly.
Right.
And
What are
this
you
is
so
a good
angry
question.
about? If it's
No,
because you think men don't listen to you, well, learn to say
Well-
something we care about.
The contagion of wanting to be a victim and getting instant sympathy for victimhood status, right, has gone so deep in a lot of like just entitled, lazy people's heads. Because women aren't the only one, but we see a lot of it with feminism, where they invented terms to create oppression where there wasn't oppression. Manspreading, mansplaining, right? These bullcrap terms to try and paint the world as horribly unjust towards women. The gender pay gap, the biggest gaslighting piece of bullcrap ever perpetuated in the modern day, when if you actually account for sick days, time counted off, earning the same wage for the same job and hours earned, right? It was perfectly on par. It's just that men end up getting higher paying jobs because they take less sick days, they ask for advances more often, and they pursue occupations that generally pay more, specifically STEM fields, right? And so on average, men are earning more because they are putting in more effort, putting in more work, and working in industries that pay more. But if you look at one for one and look at women in the same industries working in the same occupation, right, for the same hours worked, they're earning the same. But they just took the gross and perpetuated the bullcrap stereotype. Women are being unjustly treated, gender pay gap, and combined with everything else, modern day feminism, because it's like these spokespeople need to validate their existence because that's their paycheck. They get, paid to talk about the injustice of women and fight for women's rights and stuff like that. Oh, women have all the rights of men. Okay, I need to now invent other injustices to rally the women behind my cause so they will pay and support me. And it has deluded so many women into thinking that they are being oppressed in modern society when they are not. Okay? And they completely ignore, because I'm not saying women don't face certain challenges that men, don't have to worry about. But what I am saying is that men face a lot of challenges that women don't need to worry about. The injustice that happen to men that women get a free pass on is insane. And in the end, it just balances it out. Both genders have crap they got to deal with. And holy crap, the stuff that guys have to deal with, like the fact that they get sentenced to more severe sentences for the same crimes as women do, and women get less severe sentences, is bonkers sexism. No feminism bats an eye at that. They don't bat an eye that men are the vastly more represented workplace fatalities than women. More men are dying in workplace fatalities in orders of magnitude compared to women. They don't bat an eye at that. They don't bat an eye that men are the victims of violent crime vastly more than women. They don't bat an eye at that. Men commit suicide more than women. Feminists, is it equality? No, they're not about equality. They're about power and
I like that one actually.
Revenge. Oh yeah, right. And
so the logic is like, well, it's his fault. It's always men's fault.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's
like no sympathy for men. They just like, suck it up, deal with it. You deserve it.
He should have had better options, or he should have chosen a better life or something like that. He wouldn't have killed himself. So that's kind of what their idea of a response would be that the man deserved it. It's a good thing. I mean, good riddance. That's kind of what their response would be.
Yeah. And they are deluding themselves, unironically. Like these crazy feminists are deluding themselves so much that their life is so oppressive and so unjust that they need to go outside and scream at how terrible things are. And it's like, John, it actually reminds me of the story you just shared about, the guy that lost his leg and looking down. It's like, no, my leg is out. Like, they are living in a world of unparalleled privilege on the historical scale. Like modern day luxury and privilege is unbelievable compared to the past. We are living better than the kings of the past. Unironically, you have hot water on demand, electricity, access to information, entertainment like you wouldn't believe, abundant food. Like one of the epidemics we're facing is that poor people are dealing with obesity, right? The level of privilege in the modern day is insane, and luxury is insane. Yet, so many people are so desperate to be victims that they have been brainwashed into thinking that their lives are terrible and they need to scream at the moon and hate everything around it and blame Trump, men, whatever, for all the injustice that doesn't exist. It's like they are actually deluding themselves to this level. And I'm at a point like, what can you do? What can you do against this level of insanity? It's just... oh my gosh. Like, it seems like some guys are getting the message like, you avoid women like that, like the plague of bite. I'm not saying men aren't crazy and deluded in the woke ideology, oppression, Trump bad, all the crap, right? Men are capable of doing it as well. But there seems to be a high representation in the feminist end of delusion and insanity. And we're seeing it so much with this recent trial.
You have to remember, Shad, R.H. Snow said one of the most poignant things. Independent author R.H. Snow, a wonderful based woman who writes great fiction. But anyway, she said one of the most poignant things about feminism, which is feminism is just communism in a skirt. When you remember that one of the tenets
no
of
joke, that's true. That is true.
Yes.
It's the same philosophy of equality and redistribution of privilege.
They don't want you comfortable. They don't. They want you constantly angry, constantly feeling victimized, constantly thinking that somebody else, your problems, how you feel is always going to be somebody else's fault, because it's a negative ideology that always points at, hey, it's whatever's wrong with you, it's their fault, someone over there.
Yes. And it pushes towards more state authority because and that ideology always pushes to more state authority, because if they can invent a problem that doesn't exist, well, then the politicians could lie and pretend that they're fixing it. Come to us, we'll fix all your problems. I'm on your side. I'll advocate for your bull crap. And so that ideology of blaming everything else for your problems always ends with that communist mentality, ideology, and ultimately, pushing towards that government structure, because under communism, it's the state saying, we'll solve all your problems. Just give us complete power to redistribute everything, and we will give you the utopian equality results that you want, which is a lie. Never is able to do that. But that's what it pushes towards. That's what it pushes towards, just, in what you're saying there. And it is the same philosophy. Like feminism is about equality and redistribution of power and privilege, right? But what it really ends up being is just punishing those people that they think are their oppressors, and a power grab. They want the power for themselves, and it ends with women celebrating or defending a woman that's murdered her 3 children. Suicidal empathy, because that's one of the methods that they use to try and push this cancerous ideology. Is it's like, oh, there are people that don't have as much. That's awful, and it is bad. Like having poor, you should help the poor. But then people so to fix that, we should really take everything from the people that you don't like, the people you blame for your problems. We should take everything they have and redistribute it to all the people that we need to be sorry for, because. And then the suicidal empathy goes insane, where they want you to have empathy for people that are actively trying to destroy you.
It's why they love the solidarity of other women and thinking that, all women are as pure as the wind-driven snow, when in truth, when you actually give them, and in many cases have, everything that they want, it would be a nightmare for them that they would struggle to wonder how to escape from and what was going on. I mean, do we need to point anything out? Let's take men out of the equation. 75% of all lesbian marriages end in domestic violence.
Yeah, they do.
How's that a man's fault? At what point?
Oh, they'll find a way. They'll find a way, Shad. They'll find a way.
Yeah.
The lesbian was angry because of a male coworker or something.
No joke. They like, I've heard women on TikTok say that every single bad thing that's in their life is the fault of a man. That you can always find a man to blame, no matter what. And so that's why I can't.
That remember Life is Strange? Chloe was like, I gotta find someone else to blame because if I don't, then it's my fault. Fuck that.
I remember that's one of my favorite quotes.
No joke.
Thank you.
No joke. That's actually an underlining mentality that they seem to hold. That avoiding accountability, not saying it's my fault. It has to be someone else's fault, because if they take accountability, that means admitting you're kind of a crappy person. And like, studies have been done. Women are on average more self-conscious, insecure about many things than men are. Men have their own other difficulties, but on average, women are more insecure. And that does lead to a trend of not taking accountability. There's a stereotype for a reason, it seems like. And this recent insanity.
I always have to give the caveat here as well that the women that are not like this need to be heralded and put up.
Celebrated.
Like my wife, who's actually standing right beside me.
Yep.
I promise she's not holding anything to my head to make me say this. But they're the ones that aren't crazy, the ones that do think like the ones that are they're looking at the Lindsay Clancy people and they're going, these bitches are crazy.
Yes.
I don't want anything to do with them. And I'm not they're not in solidarity with them whatsoever.
100%. Like, good women of the world need to be celebrated, put up on a pedestal, venerated, appreciated, and loved. Because my wife, absolute incredible person, wonderful person. It's like when women are good, they are incredible. When women go bad, it's like, take away the children. It's just, and so you can't help but think of that stereotype with all these women trying to deflect accountability from a lady that murdered her 3 children. It's like I said, it's one of the biggest topics that is depressing, and it also speaks to the state of the world that needed.
I think if they made cancel culture a thing, they kind of debanked everyone and everything. I think at this point it should be the other side now, going after Indiegogo, or no, not Indiegogo, but GoFundMe, saying, "Hey, why are you funding these murderers? Why? Yeah. What the hell?" I think that's fair, right? Mm-hmm. It's a rules they set up. So at this point, something like that would be fair. Like, hey, how come this lady killed her children? Why are you sending her $1 million?
Exactly.
That's unethical.
Oh my gosh! So.
No, because we have Stripe saying, you can't. We're not going to process your payment because of, I don't know, this is too right wing or something, or too it's a little bit too pornographic or something.
I mean, if you want an example of this ideological battle, it's beyond a difference of opinion. It's actually a battle between good and evil. Just look at the stuff that's happening on Monday. Look at stuff like this. They celebrated the murder of Charlie Kirk, right? If you need any example of this is a battle between good and evil, just look at that. And now, case in point, they are defending a woman who murdered her 3 children and blaming men for it.
By the way, after Charlie Kirk was murdered, people started doing that. They started calling people's employers and getting people fired, because some of these people were like teachers and doctors and stuff like that. And like, do we really need psycho people teaching kids who would celebrate?
100%. Like people that are this far gone, like. Is there a way back for them? I got to maintain hope that maybe they'll wake up. But at this point, they are so insane that it's how could you have a functioning society and live with these people? They want you dead, and they will celebrate and laugh about it when you're murdered.
They say
we're at that level.
That's they used to be able to say that that's just an over exaggeration on our part, that we are just memeing or something like that. But no, literally this is the case, as we've seen.
We have seen
but with not only just Charlie Kirk, but also Carmelo Anthony, and now this case where they both literally murdered the things that a bunch of SJWs love to murder, which would be a white guy, a straight white guy, and kids. They love to murder these people also, and so they were murdered, and they celebrate them.
We just got some massive super chats from Gamer Stuff. Dude, first,
Huge.
49.99, loved you for years. Man, thank you. And then he comes in with a whopping 299 Gamer Stuff. Let this donation show that men do not support that women. Yes, dude. Legend, thank you so much. That's very generous of you. And of course, thank you to everyone that has super chatted. We will get to
Gamer
all
Stuff.
that.
While you're throwing around some cash, my paper book is available today.
Oh, yeah.
Hint, hint, wink, wink.
And how much is it, John? Very affordable, I hear.
It's $19.99. $20 even. Ebook is $5. I actually was kind of waffling on the book is shorter. Should I have it much? I asked a couple of indie author friends what they do about their pricing, and most of them are like they keep it a flat rate for simplicity's sake, and I'm like, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
But Gamer Stuff, dude, thank you so much. Very much appreciate the support and watching since 2020. Legend. It's a privilege to have you here, my friend. Thank you. Oh my gosh. And John, what's your paper? I'll let John talk about it. I'll just finalize the discussion that this whole week has been blackpilling time and time again. This is a battle between good and evil. It's blatant and extreme at this point. So honestly, have your defenses up. Watch out for these psychos and people that have been seeing women support this and pulling the cord. It's no, I'm not dating that woman. Yes, you're dodging the bullet there. Oh wow. But John, there was a quest. What is your paperback book?
This is The Black Crown is a classic D&D style epic fantasy. It's an epic quest with a half-orc protagonist. The Lionheart is a superhero and an epic fantasy adventure, and these are both set in the same universe. They are 2 starter books, so you do not need to read one to read the other. You can read these out of order if you want, and you will not miss anything. And I will get on the links right now, guys. I see some people asking for the links in the book. And don't forget Shadow of the Conqueror by Shad.
Thank you, legend. John will drop those links for you. And plus Escapee. It was good to be among like-minded people, but I have to go carry on with my blessing. Thank you, sir. We salute you. Have a good one. All right. Let's turn to, it's a bit of a lighter topic, but it's depressing in its own way. Modern day fantasy is it's sad what has become of it now. But there are people still producing great stuff. We're already talking about it. John making his stuff. I'm making mine. Litdev's making his. We are all making our own contribution to reclaiming culture. And the next thing that will help out in regards to fighting back and bringing back fantasy to its glory days is support. Absolutely. So if you haven't grabbed John's, Litdev's, or my books, please go out. And you guys, you'll really enjoy it. This is classic fantasy that we're missing because the modern day has been so weakened and pathetically neutered that you barely get the stuff that you love. And the recent examples of the desecration of fantasy into this modern, pussified, feminized, weird, is it Gen Z crap, is what has been announced regarding Golden Axe. So John, this is a tweet for you, many tweets, but of course John has been covering this as he should, because this is a perfect example of the problems that we've been facing in the modern fantasy genre, but also media generally, right?
This trailer was a travesty.
It was an abomination. Now, in case you don't know, Golden Axe was a classic old school arcade style video game. Here is a little GIF from that video game. These are the characters, Conan-esque. You got a ripped guy with a massive sword. You got a sexy woman in a bikini and a sword. And then you got a ripped dwarf with a huge axe. And look, this is, I don't remember when it came out, but this was an arcade game in my youth. I played this game multiple times because
Golden
it was
Axe
just
is huge.
badass.
Yeah.
Golden Axe is an establisher of a lot of modern day tropes. They used to help to popularize them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I have a lot of great memories of this because I was a Genesis kid, and this was a Genesis staple at the time as well.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you want to look at it as bog standard fantasy, or it's more sword and sorcery than anything, it still is emblematic of the entire genre. It is emblematic of what the genre should be, should look like, and should be presented as.
Mm-hmm. But that's too problematic. Like, look, back in the day, it was obviously targeted towards men, and it was just like, let's make something awesome that's cool, right? And objectification of women. Look at the guy. Like, this is equal opportunity objectification here, where it's just like, these are barbarian characters meant to look both sexy and awesome. And the guy as a power fan, when the guys see the guy, as I think, I want to be like that. I want to look like that. I want to get to the gym.
That
When
can
they
give
see
David
woman,
Bowie
they're
rent
like,
his money.
right? And they see the woman, they're like, that's a good looking woman. I would like to meet a woman like that kind of, and so it's made to appeal to guys, but this is their modern day interpretation of it.
I've already seen some defenses of this with the same attitude that nerds have had in the past when it came down to changing of woke stuff. Which it's not a big deal. Who cares? It's fine. Look, I can find the bright side of things. So they're saying that this woman actually looks pretty good because the Japanese give you a model and they give you a muscle mommy. First of all, stop it.
Yes, stop it.
Muscle. Get that term out of your brain.
You know, it's so funny because, like, I bet they were thinking, hey, we kept the main cast of characters. We didn't race swap them, all right? So you should be happy. We will inject our diverse, twink-looking character anyway. We'll inject a pathetically weak, beta character to fill our diversity checkbox. But look, we did change the other guy. It's like, no, the other characters look awful as well. You made the dwarf fat. Look how ripped this dwarf is.
He's ripped and fit in the game. They made him fat in the show.
They made him fat.
And they added in a new guy with a small penis.
It looks like an out-of-work small Santa.
That symbolizes a small penis. That's what that is.
They made the guy look dumb and goofy and like a retard, where this guy is like, he knows what's up. He knows the business. He's ready to, kill monsters and kick ass. They turn him into this goofy, he looks more flabby than muscular. And then the woman, they had to make her look, bit mannish, and also it's like that this is too revealing for barbarian stuff. And so they can't go the whole way. So they've got to give
even
them
had to body positive up the guy. That's how overt Golden Axe was. Also, they have to give him the whole like modern day strong guy face. Was what's going on? What?
Yeah, right.
This is just an idiot.
Well,
no, my thing. I have seen this is mostly getting ripped apart on Twitter, by the way, and I have to say there are some people whose issue with it is like, what are you guys getting us so upset about? The so important lore of Golden Axe, and that's technically correct in a way, but I will say this. This is not about the lore of Golden Axe being torn apart, because really the lore is what you see, what you get, right?
Yeah.
And what this is we are tired, especially those of us who like animation. We're tired of the soft look of fantasy, but we're also tired of these self-referential, meta-commentary, self-deprecating media that are Rick and Morty ripoffs. Okay,
that's exactly what
Golden Axe is just the latest vehicle for that. We've seen this kind of show before, and it's lame. It's not cool. Fantasy needs a cool factor. Even Critical Role's TV show, okay, has a cool factor and a lot of points. And it looks better than this. It feels better than this, although that first season was a bit worse. But man, when it locks in on the cool factor, it works. This doesn't have any of that. This just feels like people. This feels like people making fun. You could do. Sorry, I'm getting too worked up.
It feels like it's written by gays for gays and women. That's
yes,
yes. Like this is making a mockery of something like the Golden Axe game. You say it doesn't have lore, but you could see the tone of it. It played it straight. This is about cool, fun fantasy where it was just kicking ass. It was violent, and it was just doubling down on the masculine tropes that guys naturally enjoy. This wants to turn it all into a joke. That's the whole point. And it's making a mockery of it. And we're sick of this modern bullcrap making light of stuff that actually was once serious. And
there's no
fun.
Sincerity. It's the lack of sincerity from the characters about their own world that they're in that really brings it down. There was a parody of Sword and Sorcery on Adult Swim 20 years ago. I can't believe I'm saying this. 20 years ago, called Korgoth of Barbaria. It was a pilot that was never picked up, and it was hilarious. But it was also, it took itself seriously to its setting. So even though it was a parody, it worked. Okay. This, Shad, I can't believe you haven't noticed this guy's holding the axe wrong, by the way.
Well, I'm not taking anything in this seriously because it doesn't want to be taken seriously, and it's just trying to make everything stupid and a goof. And so look at some of this crap.
Heroes rise harder.
The forced kind of humor. Heroes rise harder. It was like when evil rises, heroes rise harder. Who's writing this slop?
Also, they do that.
I'll tell you who's writing it. It's
super specific, like meta commentary comedy. We're like, okay, we're going to fight bad guys at a incremental strength until we reach the end boss.
Oh, well, yeah, right. Like, let's get to that. Sorry, John, you were going to say something as well.
It's being written. Hold on, I got to find the names.
Okay.
Real quick.
Yeah, but we'll listen.
Trusty purple mutant thingies.
See,
mutant
trusty
thingies.
purple. Like, this isn't funny. This is just stupid. Right?
I hate this. I hate when authors or people in any kind of media describe stuff poorly. Right? It's a purple thingy. Like, don't do that. Please don't do it. Don't describe stuff as thingies or adding it's such and such or something. Like that's so amateurish. Right.
Yeah.
This is being written by Mike McMahon and Joe Chandler. Joe Chandler is a writer for American Dad, which has been funny in the past. Mike McMahon, on the other hand, was a writer for Solar Opposites and our favorite Star Trek Lower Decks. So, yeah, now granted, this was being made for Comedy Central. I maintain that there is a way you can do this and be funny without delving into Rick and Morty territory, but obviously that's not what they did.
Imagine if they did like a Golden Axe, thing, leaning into the campy, over the top kind of fantasy violence aspect. Like, what are some almost parody types of things that they do that with? Like, Kung Fury. Do you know of Kung Fury? Like, where
that was good, yeah.
Like,
there is one good joke in here that if they had kind of gone with that tone instead of the self-referential tone, I feel like it might have worked better.
Right. But you could have done something with Golden Axe in a humorous way if you actually did the Kung Fury kind of route where it's over the top, fighting crazy fantasy, ridiculous things, but the people in it are playing it straight and they're fighting hard. And it's just
even in Kung Fury and Kung Pao, by the way, they both treat everything seriously.
Yes.
Like it's serious to them. It's funny to us.
Right. And so there could be a parody-esque fantasy you could do with Golden Axe, or you could have just made it something cool and awesome, Conan the Barbarian style, which is what it was obviously inspired on. So this.
Oh my God, it's them! I'm a huge fan.
3 heroes: Axe, Tyrus.
Why is there always a fan? And why is there always like an in-universe fan of whatever it is?
Oh my
like Rey was a fan of Luke Skywalker and Han Solo and stuff. Like there's always a fan nearby.
Yeah, and they've made the female character really, really butch. Where if you look at the original, she was slim, she was still fit, but
I noticed something. Look at this, and this has got to be like a flashback because look, the dwarf is buff.
The dwarf is right. Is
so
buffer there.
What are we getting? Are we getting them coming in? We're
you're
out of our
right.
prime now. Now we got to go back and do it all over again.
Yep, the washed up losers. I bet they're washed up losers.
They're all losers. Yeah, they're all washed up losers who are drunk, and she almost looks good.
I mean, they want her to, like, they're purposely avoiding stereotypical attractive features. They want her to be, more manly and not. We can't have it appeal to the male gaze. Everyone, all right? Yeah, it's just a perfect example of modern day fantasy. The trends, the tropes, and trying to make it appeal to a modern, is it Gen Z audience, or it's just looks crap. It's just lame and it's not funny, and it's missing the tone completely. Here we go. Yeah. Like, this tells you so much of what you need to know about
your
this.
modern fantasy, ladies and gentlemen.
Your modern fantasy. This is a perfect example, right? Where they need to feminize the male hero and have him be a pathetic wimp, feminized loser that needs to be rescued by the woman. The man can never rescue a woman. That's problematic, everyone.
By the way, this specific fetish only works when the guy is much smaller, when he's like a short king. That's a short king's fetish right there.
I don't understand the fetish side of things. It's just like the clear trend of weakening the male protagonist and never allowing him to rescue a woman ever. The woman has to be the strong one that's going to rescue the guy. This is just so par for the course. And that's like one example recently where we've had, there's another example of a modern bastardization of classic fantasy. It's a sneak peek of Rings of Power. Have you seen this? What are we doing?
They make our jobs as indie authors way too easy.
I feel like they know no one's watching anymore, so just do whatever.
Just do whatever.
It's like that old saying, dance like no one's watching, write fantasy like no one's watching.
Oh, no one's reading. My gosh. We've already covered like the next season of Rings of Power, some of the stuff we've seen. It's just looking so bad.
Ah, yes. When I see these hairstyles, I think, yep, this is fantasy.
Right. Look at the guy.
Never mind that. These are supposed to be dwarves.
Yeah, I know. Like, they don't look like dwarves at all. They actually look more like half-foots, which is not good, by the way, because the half-foots are terrible. But look at
First of all, Thorin Kaepernick over there doesn't even have a beard.
Look at the afro. They just look like clowns. Oh my gosh. Like, I would never picture this guy in the back as a dwarf.
They couldn't swing down to Spirit Halloween.
Oh my gosh. It just looks so bad. I mean, and I feel sorry for the guy that plays, what's his name? I forget his name in the thing, but like, we covered it. We covered the interview stuff and everything. Because I think he can pull off a decent dwarf, but the writing lets him down. Everything lets him down. The show is terrible. It's like, I was going to say it doesn't have any visual identity, but it does. It's the modern fantasy visual identity. And John, wasn't it your tweet where you showed like, images of Willow, Rings of Power, Wheel of Time TV show, and they all look the same? It's like yeah,
they all get their costumes from the same department, or they have it all coming in from the same place. It's just it all looks very similar. I don't have an issue with like the costumes, like the way they look. I think they look okay-ish because I do like colorful costumes in fantasy. I don't like that muddied down, Monty Python look. When it comes to fantasy, because it just looks dirty. Because you look back at actual instances in the Middle Ages, but they loved their colors. They had vibrant colors all over the place. They were not, washed out. And I hate the washed out look is what I hate. But I mean, it lacks the visual identity to help separate themselves from other projects. And that's kind of a big thing when you want your stuff to stand out. I mean, I took that approach with my books. I have a half-orc main character because nobody else was doing half-orc main characters. I have a superhero and an epic fantasy on the cover because nobody else was doing something like that. It matters. Visual language matters.
So there seems to be like a type of racial coding with these characters because they have a mother who's darker skinned, and some people are kind of picking up on it. There's like this weird undertone, and so they made a couple of memes. It's like And John's like, what do
Oh
they mean
Lord,
by
them
this?
rings.
What do they mean by this? But I think that the thing that really lends it, the afro, that character's got this massive afro. That's not a dwarven look. What are you doing? So, you know, people are making the memes, making the memes with it.
Remember that actor Corbin Blue? That's kind of what his hair looks like. He's like the Disney star actor from like High School Musical. That's what this guy looks like. He's like he's from like a dance episode of a High School Musical show or something.
He's supposed to be a dwarf. He looks nothing
How is
like
the
a
dwarf?
dwarf.
This is no way he reads as a dwarf.
Oh dear, Nathan, how dare you? How dare you, sir? How dare you?
The Fresh Prince.
Fresh Prince of Moria.
It's like, this is what we mentioned the problems of making Deezer, dark skinned, or whereas like it doesn't fit with Lord of the Rings, it's not the right fantasy for it. You could do it in maybe Dungeons and Dragons, something like that. But as a result of them making Deezer dark skinned, they're now injecting other, racial visual identifiers that do not fit with the world at all, to the point where it doesn't look like a dwarf in any way.
Hold on, Shad. Hold on. You might be onto something here, because they're kind of tall for dwarves. Where's that black elf that's part of the series? I kind of wonder if we might have a paternity student on our hands here.
White dwarves can't jump. What are we doing? What are we doing? And so modern day fantasy, like outside of indie, it is just a travesty of what's going on. And again, like this is just a little comparison about, because Golden Axe, that was what, Japanese. It was a Japanese developer, right? They knew what the West liked. So that's how they depicted, warrior women. And yeah, there's a bit of a difference. I'd say there's a bit of a difference between the way that they're depicting the character. It's the whole, again,
whatever it is, whatever it might be, whatever fantasy it might be, the Western creators today will always make their women look like Hank Venture in a wig.
It seems like they've got to make the male characters, the female characters, masculine, uglified, because male gaze is bad, and also if we depict women attractive, that might make feminists self-conscious about their appearance. So we've got to make them look like feminists. And no joke, like there's a trend of insecure women demanding them be represented, because they get this type of validation if they see people that look like them be lusted over. And I'm actually not kidding. So this is where was it? Because I didn't have this one up at the, so I'll bring it up quickly. Where is it? Oh, here it is. So I'm gonna pause it because it is two people doing something, let's say mature. They're in the middle of an act that is very mature. And this is what Oliver says. No joke. Seeing a woman with a body like mine being desired so intensely helped my self-esteem a ton. That's not the right way to get self-esteem. What might help? Going on a diet. And I say that as an overweight person. It's like, instead of actually trying to improve themselves, they demand everyone validate that I want them to just believe I'm attractive for the way I am. And it's like, I'm sorry, people have preferences, and they generally are more attractive to slimmer people that are not overweight. But it's this type of mentality that has been infested into media generally, to the point where it's just problematic to have like fully, idealized, attractive women. They have to be masculinized, frumpified. Even women that are actually attractive, right? Like we saw this with Supergirl. Millie Alcock, she can actually look quite attractive, but they made her look uglier in the film, right? Because women are insecure, it seems like, a lot of them. And how dare men have a preference to want to see attractive women in their media. Oh my gosh. And you know, another example of the weakening, the pussification of modern fantasy. It's just like there is example after example. This is like why this is a main theme discussion in this week. All right. So there's a classic Dungeons and Dragons fantasy setting called Dark Sun. Do you guys know about Dark Sun? This old D&D fantasy setting.
I have heard of Dark Sun before. Yes,
but yeah, it's like what's it called? John Carter of Mars. It's kind of like that.
It's brutal. And this is one of the classic bits of artwork of it. Like, look how metal that looks. All right, this is like, that sets the tone. That sets the tone of what this setting is. Well. Okay, this is what they said. The content is being reviewed by sensitivity readers. They are a blight in publishing and
they have never succeeded. Sensitivity readers have never made anything better.
Never.
Stop hiring these people.
Never. Okay, but that sensitivity readers have had a look at Dark Sun, and they said, in fact, we invested more deeply in sensitivity readers for Dark Sun, knowing the challenges it faces. And this is one of their conclusions. This is one of their conclusions. You don't have to have slavery in a setting in order for it to be oppressive, they emphasized. There are other forms of oppressions out there, so they are censoring slavery out of the Dark Sun setting because it's too triggering. Like, how weak do you have to be triggered by a fictional setting being intentionally brutal and savage, having slavery? Oh my gosh.
Think of all the people who have been slaves, Shad, and were no longer slaves. Think of all the people living today that were slaves, just, I guess, apparently a few years ago.
This is where we're at with modern mainstream fantasy. That slavery
did you not know,
is
Shad,
too
that when Trump was was voted in 2016, he made slavery legal again, and we have had slavery for the last 10 years or so.
Oh, like, you have to be so weak. Look, if slavery is too triggering for you, don't read it. And no joke, right?
Or leave the house.
This is a manifestation. No, it's a manifestation on the left that when they read something that they find difficult, dark, right? They go bonkers. I experienced it with my book, and they think that the author, even though it's intentionally written as a bad thing, like slavery or rape or something really bad, right? Just because it's in the book or in the setting, they think that the creators are validating it in some way. Remember, they're brain broken. They are so divorced from reality that they can't separate these things. And so ask yourself, why would they feel like they need to censor slavery out of a setting, okay, in this D&D setting? And they're afraid that they're going to be called like they're supporting slavery in some way. That's the logic there. They're afraid that because slavery is practiced in a setting that they're publishing, that people are going to call them slave apologists. And I'm not kidding. They do that. The psychos and retards out there do that because rape is in my book, right? And it's framed as a terrible thing. And the retards have called me a rape apologist for having it in my book. That's the retarded level that we have come to, right? And the result, like, this is the thing. They're so weak because, you know, the way that you handle it is ignore them because they're retarded. They're idiots. They're morons that are divorced from reality that you don't need to take anything they say seriously. And if everyone just did that, there would be no problem at all. But because these publishers are so weak and pathetic, they're like, this is what gave the progressive woke movement all the power that they ended up having to get people canceled, kicked off platforms, everything like that. So it's because the corporations were so pathetically weak that they would actually listen to these outrage mobs and bow down to them and give them what they needed. They had no actual power apart from the power people, institutions gave them. And if they just ignored, they would be nothing. But because institutions and companies like this bow down to the sensitivity outrage mob, and they're so afraid of it, right, that they ended up giving these psychos so much power in society to help. And now they use it and have used it to ruin people's lives. Okay.
And the thing about this is intentionally one of the darker module settings that was available for, you know, Dungeons and Dragons. Not every setting needs to be the same homogenized, unoffensive level. Okay, there's still your basic bitch D&D settings, your Faerûns. You've got you know, other places like that. You've got God, what is that other one? Eberron, if you want some steampunk.
Yep.
You've got Ravenloft if you want a little gothic horror. But you know, you don't need to sit there and look, well, this is obviously the most brutal setting, but we've got to tone it down. So it's just, you know, it's basically just another flavor of the exact same soda.
Oh yeah, and I see the chat. I would never hire sensitivity readers. Sensitivity readers are a blight on fantasy, on modern literature, and everything. They are like you're hiring an actually Karen, you know, progressive woke person to try.
You're hiring your own gatekeeper.
Yeah, exactly.
And to me, it's another layer of it's another layer between you and your audience. You know what your audience wants, and you deliver it. That's just another person that wants to take some of your pie, so that they can say, "Well, I ran it through sensitivity readers." Well, what does that matter? What does that matter? What, you're going to offend somebody who is already probably going to be offended anyway?
Exactly. Like, you'll never please or appease these people. And if your book is too triggering for some people, don't read it. It's pretty simple, right? And like, there's plenty of positive reviews that also say, heads up, there is dark material in my. All you have to do is pay attention to the narrative and the reviews and stuff like that to know, is this, you know, book for me or not? And there's plenty of that. But no, they're like, no. That book needs to be altered in its fundamental core premise in everything to account for my fragile feelings. And as a result, you destroy story. That will be the ultimate result, because you can't tell compelling stories that that will never challenge anyone. Okay, compelling stories by their nature need to challenge people, confront them, make them think. Okay. And a great quote from Jordan Peterson: in order to think, you have to be willing to offend people. All right? The classic Jordan Peterson, Kathy Newman debate.
That's why so many of the modern day stuff feels so brainless.
Yeah.
They want to be so inoffensive. They don't actually do or say anything except what's safe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they've done this for so long. And this was the subject of the article that I put out on Substack and on X today, which is it has been run through so many filters. It's whittled it down to where it really does not have its visual or contextual identity anymore. It doesn't feel like anything. It feels far too homogenized. That was another point I was trying to make that I forgot in the middle of speaking, but you know, you come up with it yourself, I guess. Sorry, I forgot what I was trying to say there.
Okay, well, chat is on as like hot take. It's not that they don't agree about slavery. They just want you to believe that only one culture of people can do slavery, and it's not the rest of the world.
Right.
Right? Because slavery still exists, and it's in certain countries that, you know.
And that slavery only ever existed in like the United States or something.
Right, exactly. You know, they don't want to actually acknowledge that slavery was being practiced in Africa by Africans, and a lot of Africans sold the people they enslaved to Europeans, but I don't want to talk about that, right?
Well, they know it, but they want to try and memory hole it so they can keep that victimization train rolling.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know, 400 years later.
And so this is like, what, 3 strong examples, but John, here's another example that you share about, you know, the weakening of fantasy. And this is what modern day fantasy is looking like. It's so feminized, and they're just like, they've almost intentionally just phased out the male reader. They don't want anything for the male reader because it's all problematic. If you write something that men like, that's going to be problematic, because men like heroes, masculine heroes, the hero that saved the damsel in distress, right? They like sexy women and everything. Those are all like feminist, you know, cardinal sins. And so it has been all ripped out of the literary industry. And so this is an example of modern day fantasy. Romantasy is the main thing, and it's become a huge thing because they've been so targeting women and then making porn for, like, they've been embedding a lot of pornography into their literature.
Just porn, yeah.
Basically, a lot of this is porn, and so women are getting their rocks off on it, and then they aren't getting shamed for being degenerates or anything like that. They promote it everywhere on TikTok, and it becomes this like just sludge that constantly gets churned through, and they have these badges of honor for how many books they read in a year. So they love small, easily consumable porn slop romantasy crap that they can say, I've read 15 books this year or more, or 100 books, whatever. And it is being pushed a lot on through TikTok and all that stuff. And so, John, you say, my contention with the romantasy genre is not that these books exist, but that it has subsumed the fantasy genre to such an enormous degree that this is the fantasy genre now. Yeah.
Yes. And I mean, already to an extent, when you walk into your normie spaces, Walmart, Target, this is what you see, and it's underneath the banner of fantasy. Yep. And I even noticed this even before I got into the indie spaces. I was looking at, I noticed there was a trend that started, I would say, back in about the time that the publishing industry was subsumed by, the newer, more modern, female editors and everything. The covers, the cool covers that I had seen for, decades, so long, just kind of started going away. And at first it seemed like it was a cost cutting measure. And I'm sure that was part of it. But as time has gone on, the element of the visual language of covers has just completely disintegrated in the publishing spaces. And that was always one of the bigger draws. Guys, 90% of the books I buy from the time I was 16 years old and I found the genre, 90% of my book buying has been cover buys. I see a cool cover, I'm going to go for it. I couldn't ask for anything less when designing my own, helping design my own covers, because I make the kind of covers that I myself would want to buy. It's what draws me to everyone's other indie authors' covers. I got into the indie spaces and I'm like, oh, these covers look awesome. These look great. How come they're doing it and they're not? But in here in the indie spaces, but they're not doing it over in the traditional publishing spaces. It's cover buy. I mean, I knew who you were too, but I looked at the cover and I'm like, that looks cool. It looks cool. I want Shad's book. I look at my book. He's in the chat right now. Nick Horvath, Sledge versus the Labyrinth. This is epic and it's cool. Yeah. It has a visual style all of its own. It's and it's also exactly what you think it is, about a guy who kills bad guys with a sledgehammer. He sent me the sequel, by the way, and I'm reading it. Sledge versus the Wendigo. This stuff is awesome. Oh my gosh, there's scenes in there that make my butt cheeks clench so tight you couldn't. I'm not going to finish that thought, but you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, but that's what I get from the
indies, and that's not what I get from trads anymore. Sorry.
That's what we were also discussing towards the beginning about it, because there is a male readership base that still exists, and what they're reading, we saw it, someone even mentioned in chat, they're reading a lot of lit RPG, they're reading a lot of manga, right? They're still wanting awesome stuff, stories to consume, and the mainstream isn't offering it to them. I'm pitching my book to them saying, this is a book that is written for young men. It's targeted for young men, and they will love it. Do you want it or not? Do you want to make money with me or not? And look, I'm not hopeful, but we'll see. Well, like I said, we'll see. But if not, man, the indie sphere, I'm just going to self-publish it. And the indies, that's what's great about indie publishing, is that there's still great stuff out there, everyone. You can find awesome stuff. There's no gatekeepers with indie publishing. And if the mainstream doesn't want to work with me because I'm too problematic or my book is too focused on a male audience, screw them. We don't need them. We can do it ourselves, and you'll still get awesome stuff. And so that's the kind of light at the end of the tunnel, because indie is getting better and better. Now, I'm not saying there isn't a lot of crap in indie. Okay, that's just the nature of things. But the quality is still going up. Like I'm seeing the improvement in covers in indie improving a lot. Right? Oh yeah. And the writing quality. There are some absolute professional quality indie literature out there. And we've got examples from writers right here on the panel. Right? So I've
seen a lot of indie indie authors, they're saving their money up and they're hiring professional artists to get their covers done because they understand that. I'll give an example right here. This is one of the first indie fantasy books that I ever read was Jim Wilburn's The Seventh Cadence. He got a guy who does Magic the Gathering cards to do his book. And if you like Brandon Sanderson's style, this is very much in line with that. This is a very good book. And I'm anxiously awaiting anxiously awaiting the sequel. He's about 6 years behind, but he's got a lot of real life stuff going on. But you can see this is compelling. It's evocative. This is what draws me to a fantasy or science fiction book. It's not what they do anymore. I was mad, Shad, when Matt Denneman got his TreadPub deal and his really cool indie covers that were just awesome to look at. He got the minimalistic treatment. Now I understand why they did it. They do pop on the bookshelf. They do stand out in a good way. And I'm like, okay, well, I understand. I still like the indie covers. I'm sorry, because it sets the tone for the book way better.
Yeah, and the cover is important. And when we mentioned like getting good artists, that's exactly what I did with Shadow the Conqueror. Like I wanted the cover to reflect the quality of the book. And it is like people do judge books by their covers, right? And so when you see like a cover that's got, professional art on it. And so the guy that did my covers, so that's the first cover of Shadow the Conqueror first edition. And this is the second edition cover. Same book, but second edition. Yeah. Have you not seen this? So this was
I probably have, but I'm probably forgot. But
look at this.
May have to get another copy.
Yeah. So the second edition is actually going to be available again soon-ish. We have some copies left over from the Indiegogo campaign that I'm going to be able to put up for sale again, and I'll have this cover as well as the other limited edition collector covers, the graphic novel covers on the book, as well as the graphic novel available. But this cover, right? This is by Chris McGrath, same cover artist as the first edition. But man, like I was really happy with this cover. Like, look at this, and it conveys the Shadow of the Conqueror theme, where you see Dalen the Elder over the Dalen of the book, and it is struggling with the imposing past that he can't escape from, and it just looks so good, right? And then of course Fantasy Sword front and center, Imperious, and so getting a good cover artist, it helps a lot. And so indies that want to be taken seriously, you do need to save up a bit of money, but it's worth it. It is worth it. And so Chris McGrath, right? He's done cover art for Brandon Sanderson and some he's one of the world's best, right? And the cover artist for my new book, just as good. Well, of course I want to work with Chris again, and I want to do additional covers. Yeah, and so very important. And I'm being very intentional about wanting the cover for this new book to be just absolutely banging, right? But this is what I mean. The indie sphere quality is going up. Another like badge of quality that I was very intentional when launching my book, audio narrators. I got Michael Kramer and Kate Redding to do the audiobook of Shadow of the Conqueror. People were like, holy crap, how did you get them, right? And they're the audio narrators for Wheel of Time, for Mistborn, Brandon Sanderson, Stormlight Archives. They're legendary audio narrators, and they're the narrators I got for the audio version of my book. And it's a badge of legitimacy, and that's the quality that indie is reaching. Because you can make stuff not only as good, better, way better than the slop that trad publishing is trying to churn out. Because trad publishing, it's not even making things for men anymore, right? And so men aren't interested in romantasy. But if you want like a Chad, masculine fantasy, check out John's works, check out LitDev's work, check out my work, and as well as all the John is constantly recommending great authors. Look at all the books he has there, right? And so there is great stuff that the indie sphere is like, it's really heartening to see it just continue to grow. And if the mainstream publishing isn't going to wake up, it deserves to go under. And I'm testing them. I was like, all right, let's see if there's any hope for you, traditional publishing. Here's my book. What do you think? And if they don't want it, well, we don't need you. You'll continue to fail, and the indie sphere will just continue to eat your lunch. And we've seen it with lit RPGs. That stuff is exploding, man. And like, it's funny, right? Lit RPG seems to come from anime, because the whole integration of like video game elements
stuff,
into a fantasy setting is all like anime, also with isekai, but just like Goblin Slayer is not an isekai. It's a fantasy anime, but it has like, video game tropes. It's actually based on a role-playing game, and there's a meta kind of reality to Goblin Slayer that it is a role-playing game, and the gods are playing dice with him.
Goblin Slayer, he managed to win the day because he made his death save. He got a crit on his death save.
Yeah.
No, he didn't just survive. He got a crit, because when you get a crit in D&D, you get 1 HP back. So he got a crit on his death save and came back to life.
Right? It's
and
great.
won the day.
And there's actually really fun elements with integrating that writers have latched onto, and now have been writing lit RPG. And so, I'm tempted. I've already been given some recommendation. I'm like, I do want to check it out. And maybe one day I'd even be interested in writing a lit RPG. But my new fantasy is not lit RPG. It is fantasy with the world setting is similar to like Game of Thrones, with the medieval stuff being really solid, but the writing narrative and mythology is more similar to Lord of the Rings with my writing style and characterization. But it's a proper medieval fantasy, and the medieval stuff. Oh boy, we're talking like battles and knighthood and swords, armor, all this stuff. And I won't mention it, but I could talk about it more. But all right, let's start wrapping up. We've been going for a while, and this has been a good discussion. But we got some great supers. Thank you, everyone who's supporting. And so he says, ignore my goofy name. Thank you, sir, because I'm not going to try and pronounce it. For $10, says, it's a joke. Had to throw you a few coins for that great Mushoku Tensei video I woke up to this morning. Read the 26 books novel series it's based off of. You won't regret it. Interesting. So maybe I found the anime really interesting, and like I said, it does things that no other anime has even really tried. Mushoku Tensei deals with erectile dysfunction as a primary plot point that lasts the entire season. I'm not kidding. It does things no other, and it does it really seriously, like actually taking itself seriously. But yeah.
I saw clips of that started filtering into my timeline over the weekend. And I was like, that's the one Shad was talking about. What was the name of it? But it was mostly clips of the lewd moments.
Well,
the English version is Jobless Reincarnation. Is that what it
Jobless Reincarnation? Mushoku Tensei.
Yeah, just
the thing is, there is dodgy stuff in it. I mentioned in the video clip that went out, right?
But you mentioned it was handled well.
Exactly. Well, what the critics miss, and they're using it as a club to attack Mushoku Tensei in anime, is that the anime frames it as a bad thing. That Rudius is a lecherous loser that is trying to overcome horrible tendencies that were ingrained from his previous failed life, and so his stupid kind of gooning perspective, right, is framed as a perverse thing that is not good. And then it also plays it up as for comedy as well, because it's anime, all right? But it's like, we talked about it in this stream. The left can't separate fiction from it. They think just because it's in there that it's an endorsement. And they cannot reconcile. That's why they had the sensitivity readers to take out slavery, because you have slavery in a fantasy, you're endorsing it. It's like it's framed as a bad thing. But like Rudius even buys it.
What if you do endorse it? It's like, yeah, slavery.
It's crazy. But
you're just pro-slavery, you just write you just because I do know that there probably are some like pro-slavery fantasy writers, and they're probably all like non-white. They would all be like they probably all want to enslave white people, but that would be okay, right? If the whole thing is about enslaving white people or whatever.
Oh yeah, then that would be
fine, right? Because there are some like fetishists who like who fantasize about the destruction of the white race and stuff.
Well, another thing they attack Mushoku Tensei is that Rudius buys a slave, but what he's actually doing is liberating her and giving her a really good life. And they're trying to say it's this weird kink thing where they treat her like a daughter, and they're raising her and educating her and teaching her and stuff. And it's also a fantasy setting where the context of that world is that slavery is a common thing. Okay. And so they have a different moral standard. And but they can't divorce that, right? They think it's promoting slavery because the fantasy world has it as a common practice. It's like, oh my gosh, right? They just
didn't Shield Hero had like the whole character as a slave, right? With the what's her name? Raftalia. She's a slave, and they never address the slavery. They never have to go like, at least in the season 1, they didn't go, oh, we got to stop slavery and everything. No, he just buys her as a slave, and then we move on with the story.
Yeah, and
it's not an obligation that we have to dress this now and get rid of it and fight against.
Well, exactly, and it's not saying slavery is good. It's that this is the world. I'm living in the world and going by the moral system that world is operating within. It's not an endorsement of slavery. Okay, Rudius was literally born into this world, and even though he has the memories of another life, right, he is a byproduct of this world's culture because he not only was he raised in that culture from birth. Okay. It is also acknowledged that he's actually a child. He only has the memories of the past life. There's a difference actually happening, and that most of his he has a new personality that is formed by growing up in this new world. But people, they want to attack it for anything, and they use it as, a stick to beat people over the head with. Mushoku Tensei is just one of those ones, right? And not because again, Mushoku Tensei has expressly flawed, imperfect characters, okay? And it condemns those imperfect characters for doing those bad things, but then it lets those characters go through not only some redemption arcs, but acknowledges that they're also still capable of doing good things. The left thinks if you do one bad thing that they disapprove of, you're a pariah and deserve to be burnt at the stake and you're irredeemable. And the left will never, they will never give credit to J.K. Rowling for any good thing she does because she is anti-trans. Even though she agrees with them on 99% of everything else, she is excommunicated because she is, how dare she, break one of their cardinal sacred cows, okay? And that's the mentality that they carry with the fantasy. They won't acknowledge that, okay, this character has some pretty bad stuff. They've done some pretty bad stuff, but they're still mostly good people, and we can still go on a journey with these characters. Because people are enjoying it or they're engaged with it, they use it as but what's weird is there's selective outrage about this because they don't do this with, say, House of the Dragon. House of the Dragon has characters do some of the most despicably awful, terrible things, but seemingly because they're women, we have Rhaenyra and Alicent, right? No condemnation. They're great characters. In fact, they try and it's so disgusting, the double standards that they hold. They have this big axe to grind and hatred for Mushoku Tensei because of the dark material in that anime, yet they give a free pass to Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon. And holy crap, they have characters doing some of the most vile, evil things in Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon. Radio silence. Give it a free pass completely.
A Targaryen? I wonder.
I don't know.
Trying to draw a parallel here. I'm trying to see if I'm trying to connect some puzzle pieces.
Yeah. But sorry, we will get to the show. Thank you for that last super chat. Grey Spirit 15 says, would it set readers' expectations for future volumes if you write it less than the previous volumes due to the reasons of time constraints? I think this is referring to the discussion we opened with about book sizes. I think it depends. It honestly depends. I guess starting with a big chunky book, it does set an expectation that you're going to get a full course meal with each installment. And so I think that does, play a part. Yeah, so like I said, I'm reluctant to split it, but we will continue the discussion after I get done with the developmental edits, and then we will revisit it. We'll see. I'll update you on what's happening. Betty Adam Sovereignalyses.
Betty Adams overanalyzes.
Okay. Thank you for $2. Says pestering Shad till he discovers Jimothy Day 2. I don't know what that is, but you better keep pestering.
Tell you, or do you want to look it up?
I don't know now. Chad has tried to bait me before, so
it's harmless.
Okay.
It's harmless, I promise.
Nathan Cassidy for 1999 says 2 weeks ago, Arch talked with an author and made a bold prediction that books were gonna die in 10 years just from the existence of TikTok destroying attention spans. I think he's onto something. Thoughts? I don't know. Because there's actually two extremes. TikTok, I think, is rotten and rotting people's brains. But at the same time, people are consuming a lot of long-form podcasts still. Long-form discussions are still popular. And so there's attention spans that are holding on and even expanding because of the longer-form discussions that are available online. And so I'm kind of the position that if you write something that people genuinely love, they're going to show up. If they know about it, they do need to find out about it. I'm not saying good things can't go under the radar, but if they learn about it and they like it and want it, they will show up. And there's still a large portion of male readers. They exist. It's the mainstream that is trying to say, oh, they're just not reading us. You're making slop that they don't want to read. That's why they're not reading. Okay?
Another whole Quark argument where like the one way they're able to destroy a lot of male hobbies is by telling everyone that, oh, if you just make them more female friendly, you'll double your profits.
Right?
So they start gearing everything towards gays and women. And now what's happening with books and reading? It's like we're going to push out the men. So why is that the case? Like when it's men, we got to push them out, but when it's when it's male hobbies, we got to change everything to invite in women. How come this isn't applied to reading? Apparently, how come it isn't like we're chasing away men and we're losing half our profits? Suddenly, this whole Quark argument does not exist anymore.
Well, I'm like. That's one of the pitches of my book that I've proposed to literary agents, and I want to see what they say on it. And my pitch is that there is an underserved male readership, okay, that if you give them something like my new book, right, they will love it. They will show up. You just need to write stuff that they want, okay? Do you want to give them something that they want, or are you going to double down on the lie that men aren't reading? And they'll reject my book because of that. Let's find out. I want to get a direct from the mouth, thing to see if we can get something from them to say that. And because the reality is there is an underserved market of male readers. Okay. I'm one of them. Like I think did the guys that read Wheel of Time, Dragonlance, and all the classic readers, did they just all die all of a sudden? No, I'm alive. John's alive. We're still here. Give us something that we want. We read this stuff in the past. We will read this stuff now. They're trying to pretend that you think I've just lost interest in enjoying thick, chunky fantasy books. No, I haven't. Just give me something good. That's the message. But we'll see if they will actually admit it. We'll find out. We will find out. But thank you for the super chat, Nathan. Austin the American for 199 says, does this take place? Oh, yes, I got that in Dalen's world. If so, when? No, it's a new world, a fantasy world, and the world building is man. It's so much, the discussion about the iceberg that's like, with a lot of writing, sometimes you don't need to make all the scaffolding of the iceberg underneath the water, but you want to make it look like it's complete above the water. I've done all the scaffolding under the water, and you don't get a fraction of the world building in the first book because it's all like so much extensive history. But holy crap, the world building in and of itself is like 40 or 50,000 words. The world building document is like a mini novel in and of itself, and I'm very happy with it. And so yeah, this is its own world. And it's got its own lore and its own magic, and you're going to enjoy it. You're going to enjoy it. Then we have I'm not going to try. Thank you, though, $5. Stormlight Archives does the same rug pull. I've only heard because I still haven't read the most recent one, and I do want to get to it. But I've heard mixed messages about it, honestly. But still, man, you know what? I've been going through Brandon's, and he actually ended up collaborating to finish it off. Starsight or Starfall. I forget the series name though, because I get mixed up the first title and the series name. But it's his sci-fi spaceship book series. It's fun. Like Brandon still makes good stuff, guys. Don't write him off. I still think he's on. He's one of the good ones, but he's one of the few. It's like, because here's an example of he's writing really big epic fantasy. Still, people are enjoying reading him. Do you think he's the only author that people enjoy reading big books from? Of course not. But publishing, they don't like the big books. Printing costs, I guess. It's like and by the way, printing costs, that's only like half, because audiobook and ebook, no printing costs, guys. Doesn't matter the size of the book with audiobook and ebook. So stop getting so bent out of shape or hesitant about good chunky
those
fantasy.
audiobook costs, though.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
Yeah, I gotta do a Kickstarter for mine, because
it is worth it. Dude, it's a
Dungeon Crawler Carl got a bunch of its fame, I think, for the audiobook, because the guy that does the audio is really good.
Literally half my sales are audiobook. And look, I forked it out. I did pay the right amount to get the best narrators I could get for the audiobook, full on professional production. And so, over 40,000 copies audio. It's worth it. You do need to invest the money, but when you invest the money, it will pay off. Yeah, do it, John. I believe in you.
I know. It's just a lot of overtime on my part. I just got to kickstart it. That might be the only way for me.
Maybe. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it, because it's a big book. Yeah, you gotta go through it all. Then you gotta sound grade it to make it meet the things. I even had to register a US LLC to get a US tax file number to publish through ACX, the Audible publishing thing. I had to do a lot to get that audiobook produced, but it was worth it. Like I said, over 50% of my sales are audiobook.
Okay, fine, Shad. I'll buy the audiobook and listen. Twist my arm, why don't you?
Oh, it's great. I
do like audiobooks.
I got the audiobook. It's pretty good.
I do like audiobooks as in, like, after I read it, because it actually helps me retain the information a lot.
Yeah. It's a fun experience. I that's how I consume most of my books now, is through audiobooks, because it's just so convenient, it's enjoyable getting it read to you by a good narrator. And when you have a good narrator, man, the emotionality that they can really bring to it lifts. And I'm not saying reading isn't just as enjoyable, but it's its own thing, and I really, really enjoy audiobooks. That's my main way to do it now. We have Grey Spirit 4. If you write horror, witch, eldritch, body, etc., I do not write horror, unfortunately. So I can't really say to that. John, I'm assuming you don't write horror either?
I write some horror elements. I'm not a big horror fan. What I do enjoy from horror is more, I do like body horror.
Okay.
That is much more of a thing that kind of I think it reads better than anything. Eldritch is something I think, like space, cosmic horror. I love cosmic horror.
Yeah.
And there's a few examples of that, but it's got to be well done. If I was I do put horror-ish elements into my books. In the Black Crown, there's a section towards the back that's basically a dungeon run, and there's a lot of good horror stuff in the back of that.
Nice.
Not in a not in a slasher flick kind of way, but just in a way to scare the main character. He's alone, and all of a sudden you've got undead. I created these things. They're basically flying cephalopods that are totally silent and completely black, that just kind of swarm from out of nowhere in pitch blackness. And it's just, that was a great part of the book to write.
Awesome, man. Well, there you go, guys. My books, there's more horror elements in Shadow of the Conqueror than my new one. My new one is very epic fantasy stuff. But thank you for the super chat. Nathan Cassidy for 19.99 says, one dumb defense I saw was, this is for the psycho woman that killed her children, I believe. The support is more to spread awareness of our failing mental health care.
Oh, come on.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Why are you rallying around the child murderer as your mascot? Yeah. Also, I'd love to ask them about Chris Benoit. Yeah. The defenses are
that guy was a murderer.
Right. Oh my gosh. Zimamaru for $2 says, if Adam didn't feel lonely, we'd be in paradise right now. My religion teaches a different thing, but people like I saw a meme about that actually. Where it was just it was Sydney Sweeney munching down an apple, and it's like, God, I have this one commandment for you not to do, and then it's women eating the apple without.
I feel like, you know, we do give the ladies a bunch of nonsense, especially when, you know, there's so much bad behavior on display. But man, I love having my wife with me. And I prayed about having someone who was perfect for me, and I found someone who was perfect for me.
Yeah.
To an extent that I am glad, thankful for the last 25 years that we've spent together. You know, and guys, you know, treasure the girls that are not crazy, who do things
100%.
right,
100%.
and are a great compliment to you. The right one will compliment you.
Yeah, and
compliment you
make
in
your
your
life
life.
better.
That is.
100%.
It'll be a compliment to your personality, to your heart. They are literally the other half of you. And I think that's kind of how we were designed on purpose that way. It's just you know, it goes wrong for a lot of people, and sometimes those negative experiences get amplified on social media.
It does, and that's a good point to bring up. There's a lot of good women in the world. All right, don't let the crazies deter you. Use the crazies as the cautionary tale for you to know what to avoid, and then find the good ones. And the good ones are crucial, essential for the world. And you know, marrying the right woman just is a dream. It makes your life so much better. So we have Subaru, $5 says, if the Austrian painter, who's that I wonder he's talking about, was alive today and did everything he did before coming into power, these people would love him, maybe even afterwards. Like if he was alive today, he would be on the left. Like so many of his policies, right, are left-leaning policies, you know, gun control, universal health care. He was like, what, a vegetarian or vegan or something like that as well.
If Hitler ran against Trump in an election, they would all vote for Hitler.
They would vote for him.
Yeah.
Holy crap, you're right. You're right. Oh, dear. Ah. It's depressing. It's depressing. And then, of course, that big one, Gamer Stuff for $49.99. And then he dropped the big $300. And I'm going to repeat, let this donation show that men do not support that women. Yes. Legend.
It's a lot of support.
Man. That is a lot of support. And we got a new member, Aquamon 34. Thank you, man, for becoming a member. We really appreciate the support. Enigma says, I'll take the PC Engine Golden Axe cinematic over the show. Hell yes. Hell yes. Nathan Cassie 499 says, I'd love to tell these people that the clothes they wear come from. So where the clothes they wear come from. And then I'd challenge them to go in the buff or be a bigot. Yeah, they all hate capitalism, right? Except they still love the iPhones, don't they? And all the products that are made in the other countries and stuff.
Well, the usual excuse they give is like, well, I have to live in the society that, man. I can't really live my ideals. And that's one of the reasons why they hate Charlie Kirk is because he kind of just dunked on that and said, well, I live my principles every day. I'm a capitalist. So
yeah.
What?
But no joke, like
it's not impossible.
I mean, there's many things I abstain from that the law isn't imposing upon me. And I do it because I'm a Christian. These are my values. Like I don't drink alcohol, tea or coffee. Okay. Many religious principles that I adhere to. Those are my principles. Socialists and communists. Why don't you pay all your money to the government? Go on. Like, hey, redistribution. There's a lot of champagne socialists that have got a lot of money. Why don't you pay more tax to everyone?
Shad, they have to have money in order to redistribute it.
Yeah, but then you have people like Hassan Piker, who's got a lot of money, and he was even asked that by Charlie Kirk, and his deflection was so pathetic. He's such a hypocrite. All these people are hypocrites. It's like, you could live your ideals, you know, pay all your money in tax to the government, all right? Or redistribute it to the unfortunate. Bring in immigrants into your home.
What they really mean is
that's
what someone else needs to do, not me.
Yeah, exactly, right? Exactly. Zimamaru, $5. Thank you for all the super chats, man. It says, fantasy lovers, when they encounter something that doesn't line up perfectly with modern day Western standards and values, right? It doesn't become, fantasy is about escapism. It's a whole nother world. And part of making another world is a world that has different values to us. It's not. But again, they can't do,
it's why the harem lit genre kind of works. Like having a harem of women works in fantasy because it's fantasy, and in real life, not so much.
Zimmer Maru for $5 says, Shad, you interested in being on other podcasts? Don't know if you heard of Side Scrolls. Not only have I heard on Side Scrolls, I've been on Side Scrolls. Not the main. I've been on to Debate AI. That was fun. It's a podcast similar to yours. They always looking for guests, and they have invited me to be on their main show. The problem is the time difference. They do their show at like 2 a.m. for me, like 2 or 4 a.m. And so the time
You'll wake up the
just
kids,
never
Shad.
line up. But they have reached out to me and invited me on because I've been on, like I said in the past. But I love Craig. I love Side Scrolls. They're great. In terms of me regularly coming on a lot of other podcasts, like my health is the big challenge. Sometimes I don't even have enough energy to keep up with this live stream, right? And then I also do FNT every week, and then trying to balance that with keeping up with filming schedule. And I've had to pull back the amount that I film to also get my work done on my book. And so I'm stretched thin, and so sometimes I could push myself and get on another podcast occasionally, but most of the time I just don't have the energy. But like Side Scroll is one of those ones I would try and make time. It's just, again, the time doesn't make, because I was on EFAP, their anniversary stream just this weekend. And so I do appear now and then, with my mates in the sphere and stuff, but it's not something I can keep up regularly because
already. How many episodes is it for EFAP now?
That was, I don't know, but it was their next anniversary special. And so I popped in for like 4 hours.
They do the every 100 episodes.
Something like that, yeah, and they go for like 24 hours straight or 25 hours straight. Yeah,
insane,
crazy. They're crazy, but they do it, and they're fun works. Yeah. So, but yeah, Side Scroll is great. Love them. Karnak Ketchel, $5 says, "Hey Shad, have heard reviewed." Sorry, I'm assuming have I heard or reviewed the tabletop RPGs, the Lyrian Chronicles of Angel Sword Studios. I think you might enjoy what it brings to the table. I haven't heard of it, but I'll try and keep it in mind. Thank you. Have you guys heard of that one? The Lyrian Chronicles?
Nope. Googling it right now.
I don't think so.
All right. Something to look up. Cheers, man. Appreciate the super chat. Didier for $10 says, have you guys heard of the manga Kagurabachi, which is getting an anime adaptation at the start of next year? If not, you should check out the teaser. It's urban fantasy with magic katanas and sorcery. Very well, might check it out. Anime is one that's always just kind of fun. I do random like, oh, what's this? This one looks fun. I'll check it out. And more often than not, I hit on something good. One that I wanted to talk to you guys. I wonder if I'll get time. I want to talk about the anime Let This Grieving Soul Retire. That's a fun one. Have you heard of that one? Let This Grieving Soul Retire?
I've seen it advertised on Crunchyroll, but I've not seen it yet.
It's actually a great one that twists tropes on its head, where the main character is actually like, everyone thinks he's this legendary, unstoppable hero. He's a member of the greatest party of adventurers in the world, and he is their leader, but is actually completely incompetent and can't do a thing, and is completely useless. He can't fight. But he gets around through clever tricks and using magical artifacts that people think are his own powers, and it throws people off. And it's actually a very humorous, fun anime that it'll be fun to talk about sometime. But,
what's it called?
Let This Grieving Soul Retire. Again, complete random shot in the dark. I just turned it on. That looks weird, different, and it ended up being a delight. Like, it's just so fun that anime you can like. And it's the only genre, it's not even a genre, it's a medium, right? That you can really do that, where you just, it's like cover buying in classic literature. You see something, the cover that looks interesting, I'll give that a go. And more often than not, like, you find something, and look, there's a lot that I don't finish that, is it great? But it's no massive, sacrifice. And then regularly enough, I find something that's actually pretty decent that I wasn't expecting. So yeah, there's a good chance I'll give that a try when it comes out. Nathan Cassidy, again, our legendary modern chat, says, I managed to break the brain of a BNB. I don't know what that stands for. Simp. I don't know what that, by telling them, by his logic, brand new day. Brand new day. By his logic, Jean Grey and the Punisher are both heroes. I even got to call him sexist. Like, reversing the logic on them is so easy, but then they just deflect and like, and you can't use reason with these people because their ideology isn't founded on reason. It's complete emotional, ideological possession where they have to be right. And so they will lie and they will deflect and they will just use completely broken logic to validate their position, because that's what it all comes down to: power, winning, and validation, and overcoming or ignoring their own imperfections. Onion Core for $10 says, are there any other books in the Chronicles of Everfall? Audible says it's in a series. Well, it was standalone with series potential. And so I do admit sometimes that throws people off, because Chronicles of Everfall book 1, I wrote it because I do intend to get to some sequels eventually, but just not at the moment. I'm happy for it to rest for a bit, which is a good choice, honestly, for me, because this next book is going to be really fun and it's a new series. So at the moment, no, there aren't any other books in it. But I do intend to get to it a bit later down the track. John and I, there might be some fun things. You're not telling anyone about the contact that you brought to my attention to recently, John. So is that still under wraps? Not yet. So we'll keep that under wraps. But there could be some fun things in regards to Shadow of the Conqueror.
I'm excited.
Yeah, we can leave it at that. And then Thomas Vance for $2.79 says, hey, Shad, me again. Wistaria, Wand and Sword. I need to get back to it. I watched a couple of episodes and I thought it was pretty good, but then I just got distracted. Sometimes it happens even with a good show. But so for what I watched, it was pretty decent. Wistaria, Wand and Sword. I don't like his sword. His sword is just one of the anime design swords. We need to make swords. Hey, just on that note, right? You know how I have foreign language Shadiversity channels? I've showed you guys some of that before. You remember that? The foreign language stuff?
I remember those. Yeah,
Yeah. So I now have a Japanese Shadiversity channel. And I've had a couple of videos actually take off. One of the videos is like over 45,000 views. It has more views than that same English version video on my own channel. And so I'm bringing medieval swords to Japan. The information is coming to Japan, and the video was me analyzing an anime sword and sharing this is how it could be improved, and the video is taken off for a brand new channel, and so yeah, that's fun. I'm building a Japanese audience.
What's wrong with that sword?
There was problems with it. No, it's not perfect.
Really?
Oh, we're starting one sword. It's mainly the crossguard and hilt and stuff. The crossguard is too bulky, from memory. But I need to make more. I need to make more content about anime that'll take off on my Japanese channel now, because Japanese people, I feel like there's a connection there because we both love swords. We love swords, and so I'm bringing some great sword information to them. Alrighty, but time to wrap up. This has been a fun live stream. As we wrap up, LitDev, anything you want to mention?
Not quite yet, but I do have my usual stream Monday through Friday. I had to cancel today because I had some audio issues, but tomorrow will be an extra long show. You want to have some fun. We're covering a video about this guy talking about Freeran and This is Dungeon, about how masculinity should be gentle or something. And we'll check it out.
That's like, I love it when you talk about those things. So awesome. And John, I'm sure there's something you want to mention.
Just dropping it out there again, guys. A paperback version of The Lionheart is now available. Working next on the hardcover, which
legend.
I love the hardcovers. Love the hardcovers.
Awesome, man. Awesome. And everyone knows where I'm at. Links to Shadow of the Conqueror in the description, and the special edition edition 2, second edition volumes are going to be available soon through my website. I'll let you know when it drops, because not only will this be available, Last of the Leatherbound, very limited edition stock, but because we purposely over-ordered to fulfill the campaign, and so I've got some stock left that I'm going to make available again, and you'll be able to grab a copy of the Leatherbound if you missed out, as well as the collector edition copies and the graphic novel. So that'll be fun to announce when that is up and running. And then, of course, yeah, you know where I'm at. Night's Watch, Shadiversity. Thank you, everyone. Thank you guys for joining us. You're gonna link your Japanese channel. I'm not sure you guys speak Japanese. Like, is there a point to it? Well, let me just for fun as we wrap up, let me jump over there because it's linked on the Shadiversity homepage. So if you go to Shadiversity and you go to the homepage and you scroll down just a tad, you will see Shadiversity Japan. Let me share this tab. Shadiversity Japan. Right here. Check it out. And so where's the trailer? But this is the content. And so look, this video here, 50,000 views now. That's like, this is a new channel. That's pretty good for a new channel, man. So look, if you want me to,
does the translator do an Australian Japanese accent? I wonder.
No, but so it's AI translation, opening up opportunities. And I'm very upfront about that. I actually made a trailer explaining this is how it's being done. And so there is the link. But so if I was to open up this video, right, this is this is fun. Oh, hang on, you can't see it. You can't see it. Hang on. It's on the wrong screen. Let me share this tab instead. Boom. Okay. All right. You should be able to hear it now.
くなる必要があるんだ。でも、中世のクロスガードを見ると、
So, yeah, like the full translation, man.
的にしっかりしてるんだ。ここで気づくと思うけど、俺はクロスガードをもっとバランスよくしたんだ。アニメのやつはクイル音の端。
Cross guard.
Cross the guard. And so, let me. I've done a trailer, right?
シャドーバーシティって何？それは世界最大の中世テーマの剣や武器のチャンネルなんだ。
So yeah, that's this is my Japanese channel, and yeah, like hey, Japanese people, they love swords. Some videos are popping off, and so if I was to go back to the main screen here, share this tab. So some videos, yeah, 50,000 views, 25,000 views, 5,000. Yeah. For a new channel. So I'll try and make some more anime content, I think. Yeah. I love hearing English words in the chat.
I like that YouTube's able to translate your comments into English. That's nice.
Yeah, the comments are actually really, really fun. I want to do a whole video just reacting to the comments. Because it's like YouTube, but 15 years ago, where they don't know much about the functionality of medieval swords. Like this is all new information for them, and they're really intrigued by it. But so as a result, the comments are just fun, and so yeah, you can just translate them. It's something to be very proud of. The people who are far more knowledgeable about Western swords than the Japanese. At least, don't dismiss it as just fantasy, but instead appreciate all the like. One thing I've noticed about the Japanese comments, they're far more kind of like sincere and engaging. Like, I'm personally happy to see people who watch games and anime so seriously. It's fun to watch. These people are amazing because they not only know about swords, but also about anime and 3D modeling, that is. And they talk about them with such understanding. Japanese people are so polite. They're so cool. Look how
they
nice
really
they
are. I'm still friends with a lot of people on Japanese Twitter and engage with them regularly to keep them in my algorithm so that, I don't lose them because they are polite and they're fun to talk to. And I just like them, which is what led me to that thing we were talking about behind the scenes.
Hey, look, guys, write an AI book. So this, I want to point this out because I know if haters watch this, it's like, see, Shad watches this guys on how to write AI books, so he must write. His book has been written by AI. That's the connection I do like. No, I just find AI writing really interesting, and I want to stay up to date on what it's capable of. And this guy is one of the guys that is actually teaching people how to do it. He's written multiple AI books, and AI writing. You need to be aware. It's a thing, right? Publishers are so skittish about it, but all right, you're just handing it all to indie. and there's going to be good AI written books in the future. It's unavoidable. And so you need to be aware that it's happening and also understand that this is part of the market now, part of the market. So figure out what's going on. And my experience with it to this point is that it changes my style way too much. It's not me writing, and I don't like that. And it can't write my style, and it was too narrative. And I haven't even really tried to get a good prompt to get it to focus on a style that I want it to, because it's too much effort, and I can do it myself, and I enjoy it doing myself. So, but it's fun. It's fun. And the Japanese stuff is also fun. We got actually just one more super chat. Says, Shad and crew, I want to recommend a great forgotten book series, the Drenia Saga by David Jamel. The first book is Legend, Great Heroic Fantasy. You know, like, I do wonder about all the forgotten great fantasies that probably, you know, never even acknowledged now that are probably really, really good. And there's probably so much of it.
I could point to a couple. The Saga of Recluse by L.E. Modesset Jr., the works of Sarah Douglas. Man, there's so many great series. You could drown yourself in old school fantasy.
Yeah.
And never have to come up for air.
Yeah, stuff that isn't even that old. Ranger's Apprentice, Assassin's Apprentice, and stuff like these were big staples in fantasy that you don't hear a peep of around these days, but they're still there. Still good stuff that people can check out. I guess. Oh, look, I do see it. I understand. People always want the new thing, what's new and stuff, but there's a lot of great legacy media.
This is something, a contention I've had with a bit of book talk. You'll see book talkers, not the women with the male ones, and you'll end up saying, hey, guys, if you like these books, we can be friends. Here's my recommendation for book series. It's almost always the same 10 authors and series. It never fails. It's always Dune and Stephen King and Sun Eater Chronicles and just Game of Thrones, occasionally an indie, just more like the one really popular one, like sort of Kagan or something like that. It's like they end up just kind of circle jerking around the same series and the same authors from the last 10 years. Brandon Sanderson and, you know.
Ranger's Apprentice is great. Dragonlance is great.
Just like, either nothing new is coming out. Dungeon Crawler Carl's the new shiny these days, but there was so much stuff from the past that was decent. It doesn't have to be the biggest, best to be really good. I could do a whole stream with you, Shad, on just some really good books and series that I've read that really don't catch the eye much anymore, and tell you why they're good to read.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we'll do that sometime, because I had a very focused kind of reading thing. You're far more read than me on, fantasy, but I still, Ranger's Apprentice, Assassin's Apprentice, Dragonlance was my entry into reading, honestly. And I could talk about those. I can absolutely talk about them.
Look at that beauty. Look at that beauty.
I need to get those books again. And
the Legends are having omnibus now too. The Legends books, which I didn't read.
Yeah. So the core series is great, but also the series of the twins, and there are so many. And then of course there are the classics that I love. Orson Scott Card Works, Ender's Game, of course, is brilliant. But so few people go for there are so many books in the Ender's Game series, like huge amounts. There's great stuff. So maybe someday we will. But now, though, it is time to sign off. Thank you for everyone for joining us. We appreciate you all. And as always, stay on watch. Farewell.